Now you can
Black
respond.
women cannot be racist to white women. Are you kidding me?
Sorry?
That makes no sense.
Sorry?
Black women cannot be racist to white women. Do you not understand that?
Oh, yes, they can.
You don't have the intellectual
yes, they
capacity
can.
to understand that.
Oh, yes, they
that's
can.
Very much
and you've been
impossible.
racist to me.
That's very much.
Oh shit, I wasn't on stage. Sorry. What do we think about that? What do we think about that, huh? Black women cannot be racist to white women. Why am I so huge? Sorry, everybody. There's going to be some minor learning curves tonight because I am back on my old computer. My old computer. And we don't see how it works. Oh man, what's going on here? Where's this? I have to fix my camera. How's it going tonight? Everyone's so nice to see you. All right, I guess this is better. It is what it is. It is what it is tonight. It's going to be what it's going to be. About all I can do. G.S. Harkman was first tonight. He says, first. He was. That was real early. And I want to thank everybody who's here. Jonathan Marcos says, I'm hoping all's going well with the E to the electrical gremlins. Yes, well, yes. It's my old computer. The new one bricked today. My new computer stopped working today. Had to get shipped back. I don't know. This is crazy. That should be criminal. It really should. YouTube is very flaky tonight. I've heard that. I was having trouble watching YouTube on my phone. Wasn't working. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you offshore production everywhere. I am Bob. What's up, Pat Hacker? Nice to see you. Ank. I am Bob. What's going on? Even the picture, because this is a old graphics card and everything. So the picture, I don't know. I'm not making any promises tonight. Sounds like your new refrigerator. Yeah, well, my refrigerator just went out too. I'm still waiting. They're going to be here Saturday to look at my fridge. So it took them a week to come look at it, Bob. It's crazy. Uh-huh. DISM online clean image restore health. I don't know. I already sent it back. And Jay Marco's like, Bella baby, what's up? And let it run. What's up? Hey, what's going on, Derek? Nice to see you. Safe mode or admin CMD prompt. Here's the problem: is my computer. I tried to do stuff, and for whatever reason, it's got to be the heart. It's got to be the motherboard, because when I tried to go into like the recovery stuff, none of the USBs worked, so I couldn't control anything. I had no way to select anything or do anything. It's like all the USBs got disconnected. Very weird. Iowa backyard cam says like it has been has been hit. Thank you. Who else we got here? Snorum, what's up? Snarf. I'm sorry, that's Snarf. Snarf Magoo. What is going on? What is going on with these names? Man, everything's all screwy. We got Schwartz is here. What's up? Hope you have a nice day. I'm ready for a great show. I hope so. And here's Schwalbach says, you buy honey badgers, primarily a carnivorous species, has few predators, sticks getting traded. Okay, cool. Thank you for the information. Hey, Steve Hilliard, how you doing? The other Gygax, how you doing? Gagax. Joe, what's going on? Same old racist crap. Yep. New PC time. I just got a new PC. That PC was less than a month. It was like a month old. I just got it. Yeah, not loading. Empire Strikes Back. Yeah. And Rilzik, what's up, man? Refrigerators are most expensive to fix. Is to buy a new one. Yeah, they are. They didn't used to be that way. Hey, what's HJ Remy? How's it going? How you doing? Hey, Colorado Mountain Girl, what's going on? How's it going? All right, everybody. So, as you can see, they say that you can't be racist if you're black. So that's cool. It's 11. You think it's Windows 11 doing it? It probably is. So. Hey, Trumpinator, how you doing? So let's get into the first story of the evening. First we're gonna watch this again. We're gonna watch a little bit of this. We'll go back to this here.
How you can
Black
respond?
Women cannot be racist to white women. Are you kidding me?
Sorry?
That makes no sense.
Sorry?
Black women cannot be racist to white women. Do you not understand that?
Oh, yes, they can.
You don't have the intellectual
Oh, yes, they
capacity
can.
to understand that.
Oh, yes, they
That's
can.
Very much
and you've been.
Wow, did you hear that? She just said that you don't have the intellectual capacity to understand that. Wow, that's pretty bigoted.
Racist to me.
That's very much
You've
impossible.
been racist to me, a white man, by saying I'm a race baiter. Yeah.
How am I racist to you? I'm black. I can't be racist
You
to
call
you.
me a race
Are you
baiter
kidding
with
me?
no
You're
evidence.
Racist to me.
When have I
You
been a
can be
race
racist-
baiter?
You could be racist to me.
When have I been a race baiter?
But I'm a powerhouse.
Tell me when I've been a race
I'm a
baiter.
powerhouse.
Well, you may be a powerhouse.
Understand something.
You may be a
powerhouse.
You may be a powerhouse.
Okay.
When have I been a race baiter?
I want to admit that.
When have
Okay.
I been a race baiter?
Okay.
When have I been a race baiter?
Okay.
This is absurd.
No, hang on. Tell me,
Honey.
Blossom. Give me one example of me race baiting. Blossom, go.
I'm here at this point. I'm just here to talk about trans women in sports. I said
Okay.
what I said.
So you don't have
and I don't
anything,
to
do you?
Repeat anything.
You called me a race baiter.
Since you look much better than usual. Did your video card lose weight? Yeah, I'm back on the old 1080. I'm in a 1080 video card. I went from a 5090 to a 1080. So it dropped 4,000 pounds, 4,010 pounds. My video card. Yeah. So, but here, and we'll do this. So it says, black jurors are racist in favor. Wait, what? Black jurors are racist in favor of their own race. Black jurors tend to be strongly biased in favor of their own race. Results from a meta-analysis of mock juror decision-making studies. White jurors give defendants fair odds regardless of race. Black jurors give black defendants extreme favoritism. Huh. Hmm. Hmm. That's weird. That's weird. That's weird. All right. Now we'll get into the newsies type news stuff. Bill Gates will pay for this. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Mm-hmm. Mock trial with Judge Reinhold. We can get William hung for the theme song. Oh, there we go. Yeah, they really screwed the U.S. up when they did the Civil Rights Act. It sure seems like they might have. The camera adds 10 pounds. Turn off a couple. Oh, well, that's not very nice thing to say. Anyway, so happening now. Breaking news. A federal judge, Susan Ilston, a Clinton appointee, has issued a temporary halt on Trump's mass federal worker layoffs during the current shutdown. The ruling the actions likely exceed legal authority. Oh, look at her. She's standing there. I'll tell you, I'm the boss. Is there Bellicam with this PC? Yeah. Yeah, I was, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think so. It's, I don't, no one, I mean, there can be. I don't think there, I mean, look, I don't think anybody, said anything that I missed. You know, I didn't really think tonight was going to be that, I look svelte. I didn't think I look fine. Okay. Luke svelte. All right. Yeah, there's Bellicam, I am Bob. And thank you for the $2. I just, you know, I have the banner going, don't I? So we'll change the banner now. We're now 73 away from the first additional hour or Bellicam, unless I guess I didn't do the spiel, did I? I'm screwing up. So yeah, so just as usual, yes, SCOTUS did say Trump could fire anybody he wanted. SCOTUS already did, but you know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You got a judge that just thinks she can overrule SCOTUS and overrule the president because she's the president now and SCOTUS, and she's in charge. You know, repeal the 19th. That's what I hear anyway. But yeah, so the way it works is we go about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, unless we hit the goal of $75, which that's across all platforms, memberships, gifted memberships, stuff like that. You know, locals, Rumble rants, YouTube super chats, gifted memberships, PayPal and Cash App also. And but if we hit a $25 donation, any individual donation of 25 or greater, Bellavision gets activated, and Bellavision looks up like that. There she is, sleeping. She's just chilling, you know, waiting. She's resting, waiting to be called into service. Yes, and she's a Democrat. Yes, rally. Trump stated that he's one of the best constitutional lawyers in his administration. I think this judge is up to speed on the Constitution. No, not really. Not really. Doesn't really. Well, I mean, considering SCOTUS already ruled on this. So, this is Judge Susan Ellison hereby blocks President Trump from firing federal employees while Democrats have the government shut down. That was an old joke. Sheesh, if I meant it, I would not have said it. I don't know what joke you're talking about. Did I miss it? I look svelte. Svelte. Yeah, like svelte, like a Steiger. Yes, I'm so tired of rogue judges holding up all the administration's efforts to fix the country. Prices and the cost of living will be going down dramatically right now. That's right. It would be. Could be. Should be. So. I don't. Did I miss the joke? Because I must have missed the joke. Oh, there's I am Bob and Bellicam, please. Okay, Bob, for you, you get Bellicam. All right, and then let me fix it. Let me adjust the camera angle. Mm-hmm. Fix the camera so everyone can see her good. There she is. There she is, just kind of sleeping there. I guess I could pictures upside down. I guess, do you want me to turn it? I mean, can I turn it? I think I can rotate it, actually. Let me see. Direction flip. No, it didn't work. Oh, I guess it won't let me. It won't let me turn it. I thought I could. Look at her. She moves fast. That's all it'll let me do. Sorry. I thought it would let me turn it, like rotate it, but I guess it won't. She's like, why is it? Something's weird. It's covering the. Like she's covered by. She's partially covered by the. I don't know. Whatever. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, gonna have to give Bella a 1099 this year. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give her something. And so with that 25, that gives us, we are now $48 away from the first extra hour. Okie dokie. You ordered a new key fob from Amazon, a Dorman. It had the programmer with her. It worked well. Yeah, poor Bella, her blood is rushing to her head. Yeah, it does that. So, holy crap, she thinks she's the president of the United States. We have a huge judicial tyranny problem, and it reveals itself every week at this point. Ignore, appeal, keep firing. Supreme Court's already made it clear that the president has the authority to fire whoever he wants. Yeah, and she doesn't care about the Supreme Court. Impeach. Judge Ilsen's order is judicial overreach at its worst. Exactly why Congress passed the NORA of 2025 to rein in rogue injunctions. The bill explicitly limits district courts from issuing nationwide injunctions unless approved by a 3-judge panel. Her unilateral block on federal workforce restructuring during a Democrat-caused shutdown violates both separation of powers and congressional intent. The administration's layoffs target redundant programs in Biden bloated. It prioritizes efficiency over bureaucratic dead weight. When judges defy laws like NORA to protect DC insiders, it proves why Trump's reforms are necessary. Unelected activists shouldn't override elected branches. Defy the ruling, appeal immediately, and keep draining the swamp. Yeah. Been a lot of that going around, really. This guy says, bad hombre, he says, SCOTUS already ruled in AFGE v. Trump that he could proceed with mass layoffs across the federal government. This judge is saying she can overrule the highest court in the land. That's not how our system works. Clear-cut violation of judicial authority and a textbook case for impeachment. If the judge rules federal worker firing during shutdown is unlawful. Oh, I have to fix my camera. I just realized that my camera's all jacked now. All right, that's better, I think. All right, sorry about this, guys. Like I said, it's a different computer, so everything is different. Here's the first story. Clinton judge blocks the Trump administration from firing federal workers during the Schumer shutdown. Oh, you like the polo? Good taste. Thank you. It's a. I think it's a. I think it's a cow. I don't know what it is. It's just a polo. I don't know. I didn't feel like putting a button-up shirt on today. So, a federal judge on Wednesday temporarily blocked the Trump administration from firing federal workers during the government shutdown. U.S. District Judge Susan Ilston, a Clinton appointee, issued a TRO on Wednesday and stopped the administration from firing workers. The Schumer shutdown began October 1st, and the Senate has voted 9 times and failed 9 times to reopen the government because Schumer wants to give illegal aliens health care. Layoffs of federal employees officially began last Friday as the U.S. government shutdown entered another tense phase, according to the Trump administration budget chief, Russell Vought, who confirmed the sweeping reductions in a social media post. The rifts have begun, Vought announced on X using the acronym for reductions in force. Norm Eisen, the deep state's favorite lawyer who spearheaded the color revolution and more than 180 lawsuits against Trump, sued the Trump administration to stop the rifts. Norm Eisen filed a lawsuit on behalf of federal labor unions, and Judge shopped to make sure the case was assigned to Judge Ilston because she ruled in favor of labor unions in a RIF case in the past. We're going to court to stop the Trump administration's abuse of the coming shutdown to illegally RIF employees. On Wednesday, Judge Ilston issued a TRO because she said the firings appear politically motivated. What? President Trump's administration for now must stop firing workers during the government shutdown, a federal judge ordered. U.S. District Judge Susan Ilston in San Francisco. Why would a judge in San Francisco be ruling about federal government firings? Said the cuts appear to be politically motivated and were being carried out without much thought. It's not up to her. It's not up to her. Why? I have the fucking notifications shut off on Discord. Why do I keep hearing them? Hope that's fixed now. Is Bella dreaming? Maybe. It's very much ready, fire, aim at most of these programs, and it has a human cost, she said. It has a human cost that cannot be tolerated. She granted a temporary restraining order blocking the job cuts, saying she believed the evidence would ultimately show cuts were illegal and in excess of authority. Norm must be worried he's next for DOJ charges. Well, I would say probably. And with that $2, we are now $46 away from the first additional hour. What's going on? Thank you very much, Elegant News. So we'll see what happens with this. We really will. We're going to look, yes. Nothing more permanent than a temporary government program. That's really weird. When you super chat, it shows up with your name the way it's supposed to be. But when it's a regular chat, it has all this weird stuff. Why is that? Something weird going on. MAGA judges should file a lawsuit against the judge that is stopping Trump. Somebody should. What's to say? G.S. Harkman, get it right, and Jim pays us? What are you guys talking about? Oh, what's this? Place your bets. Well, clockwise or counterclockwise? Odds are clockwise. Well, she always does it at the top of at the top and bottom of the hour. Just like Crazy Ivan. Anyone knows what that is? Judge issues temporary order barring layoffs amid government shutdown. It has a human cost. Well, yeah, it does. Of course it does. It's what's called a layoff. It's not called a stay off. Judge in San Francisco issued a temporary order. We read all this stuff. She pressed the government during Wednesday's hearing about why the administration was taking the drastic step while furloughed employees didn't have access to their work email accounts and they weren't human resource employee currently available to implement the layoffs. Hey, what's up, Just On? How you doing? Thanks, everybody. I want to remind everybody, too, while you're here, the 70 people that are watching on YouTube, please hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and participate in the chat, talk to people, make some friends. Very good people. So Ilsen sided with groups of federal employees who are suing over the cuts and issued a TRO, ordering a halt to the firing on grounds that they were likely illegal and exceeded the government's authority. Well, so the government, according to her, the government has no authority to fire people. Just can't fire people. Hey, Rachel Boone, thanks for stopping by. Earlier in the hearing, Assistant U.S. Attorney Elizabeth Hedges opposed the TRO and argued judges don't have the power to interfere with federal agencies' employment choices. Hedges repeatedly declined to answer Ilsen's question about whether the job cuts were legally justified. The American Federation of Government Employees, the same people that sued before and got turned down, claiming the layoff notices were meant as retaliation and to apply political pressure. They also claim that Congress ultimately has the power over agency decision-making, not the administration. No, that's not true. Democrat lawmakers demanded that healthcare subsidies be extended another year and that Trump's Medicaid slashes passed in this bill this summer be reversed before they agree to reopen the government. Hey, AI World Champion, what's up? Super Jim, let's go. Hey, what's going on, man? Nice to see you. You have a good name and no money can buy my name. Okay. I don't need friends. They disappoint me. Oh, cool. Republican legislators have said the government shutdown should come to an end first and they can negotiate demands later. Speaker Johnson said that this could be the longest shutdown the country's seen and that he won't negotiate with the other side of the aisle until they drop their demands. OMB didn't return requests for comment. So we'll see. This is going to go up to Supreme Court. More than likely, it's going to get slapped back down. And, but this is just a pattern. And the pattern's going to continue. It's basically we are right on the precipice of some kind of civil conflict, civil disruption, civil war, whatever you want to call it. I mean, the stuff that's going on, the attacks on the ICE agents, the attacks on conservatives in general. It's not good. It's not good. And now we've got even more on that front. We have blue state governors are attempting to undermine RFK Jr. by setting up a shadow health alliance. That's right. They don't want to follow the HHS's guidelines, even though they have to. So, yeah. It's more lawfare by terrorists. Yeah. Come on, man. Yeah, it's amazing all in the first year. Yeah, it is. No, they tried to get us to fight each other. That's riots. Yeah, well, that's what they want, but it's still happening. Several Democrat governors are forming their own health alliance separate from the federal government, due mainly to policy agreements with the Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy. The Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday that governors across 15 states, including New York, California, and North Carolina, are forming a new public health alliance to detect and respond to disease threats, saying federal funding cuts and policy changes by the Trump administration are putting their citizens at risk and forcing them to find alternatives. In light of the assaults on science and medicine coming out of Washington, governors have to step up and lead. Kathy Hochul said, we really have no choice. Gavin Newsom said in a Wednesday news release that California is proud to help launch this new alliance because the American people deserve a public health system that puts science before politics. They say as they're putting politics before everything else. As extremists try to weaponize the Centers for Disease Control and spread misinformation, we're stepping up to coordinate across states, protect communities, and ensure decisions are driven by data, facts, and the health of the American people. Yeah, so get a new booster. Go get your other booster. There you go. That's what this is all over. More boosters, more control. The other governors participating in the Public Health Alliance is Bob Ferguson of Washington, Josh Green of Hawaii, Maura Healey of Massachusetts, Tina Kotex of Oregon, Ned Lamont of Connecticut, Dan McKee of Rhode Island, Matt Mayer of Meyer of Delaware, Wes Moore of Maryland, Phil Murphy of New Jersey, Jared Polis of Colorado, J.B. Prickster of Illinois, and Josh Stein of North Carolina. So there you go, North Carolina. You elected all Republicans except for the governor because you didn't want to vote for a black guy. And so now look what you get. You get what you get now. That's what you get for being racist, North Carolina. It's worth noting that some of the participants, such as Newscomb, Prickster, and Merkley, were known for having some of the most draconian lockdowns during the COVID pandemic. You don't say. You don't say. You don't say. That's odd, isn't it? That they had the most draconian lockdown measures. Most draconian lockdown measures. And now they're trying to, they want to just have more control again. Yeah. We're all sick of hearing about misinformation. Yeah, we should just sell California to Spain. Nah. An HHS spokesman told the Wall Street Journal regarding the new alliance, Democrat-run states that pushed unscientific school lockdowns, toddler mask mandates, and draconian vaccine passports during the COVID era completely eroded the American people's trust in the public health agencies. The spokesman added, regarding the cuts made at the CDC, that HHS continues to close wasteful and duplicative entities to streamline the agency for the American people. Regarding his decision to fire CDC Director Susan Marares and others at the agency over the summer, Kennedy testified last month that we are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at the CDC. That makes sense, right? I mean, they're not making us any less sick. We're getting sicker. So obviously these people aren't doing their job. These people's job is to protect our health. Oh, it says, que bueno me gusta España. Oh, Murphy was from Douchebagistan. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sick. They did not do their job. This was their job, to keep us healthy. And I need to fire some of those people to make sure this doesn't happen again. Makes sense to me. I mean, I'm just sitting there with that, I am literally the meme of, what was that guy's name? The character Solo, the Ren, no, what's his name? The guy that, the son of Han Solo and Princess Leia that killed his father or whatever. And, what the fuck was his name? He's like, more! That's me. Kylo Ren, yeah. I am the meme of Kylo Ren going, more.
We are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at CDC. They did not do their job. This was their job to keep us healthy.
Thank you.
And I need to fire some of those people to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Wow. Fixed chat versus super chat. How did it work? Did it just happen on its own? It looks like it just happened on its own all of a sudden. Yes, we should build a fence around California. Yeah, good on RFK. Did it just happen on its own, or did it? That's weird. Yeah, his wife did a good job on the View. Yeah, and did.
We are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at CDC. They didn't.
Yeah, that's right. An Axios Ipsos American Health Index survey released in July found a majority backed the core of Kennedy's Maha food safety efforts. Well, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know he's on. So's Rackets is actually streaming also, but Rackets is doing a Oh, YouTube decided to add a bunch of numbers to people's channels? Really? That's weird. Further, 67% say they agree that they do not think food that contains pesticides and artificial food dyes in them are safe to eat. even if they're approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. On the subject of childhood vaccination, which Kennedy wants to leave more to parents' discretion, 77% of the poll responded that they believe parents should follow the CDC's recommended immunization schedules for getting their children vaccinated. However, few Americans strongly agree with this sentiment compared to the previous wave. This softening has taken place across the political aisle. Ooh, so much Cali hate. Nobody hates California. No. He grew up in California. YouTube has been cyber attacked. Seems like it. CNN analyst Harry Ent highlighted last month that there's a 30% point drop since 91 in the support for government mandating a vaccine schedule for children. RFK is actually the most popular member of Trump's administration. His time at HHS come as there's been a 30-point drop since 1991 in people wanting the government to require kids to get vaxxed. Oh, well, I appreciate that. Steve says, I can watch the others on replay. I'm here for Jim live because Jim is the best. I mean, that's, you know, that's what Steve says. I'm not gonna, and the man called Plush has none of that California bullshit.
He disrespected the bean.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, none of that California bullshit. Trumpinator says that he's here for Bella. Well, game over, man. Game over. And it comes also at a time when most people say public health officials lied about COVID. You don't say.
Harry, it's interesting. All morning long, I've been saying Secretary Kennedy could be the most embattled member of the cabinet. Fact check me here.
No, I think that's a false. That's a false. That's a Daniel.
That's a false. That's a false.
What are we talking about here? Net favorable ratings of key Trump officials. Look at this. RK Jr. ain't exactly popular, but he's the most popular of all the key officials that we have recent polling on. Pete Hegseth, his net favorable minus 14 points. J.D. Vance, minus 11.
Who the fuck is taking these polls?
RK Jr. is at minus 7, but minus 7 beats minus 10, beats minus 11, beats minus 14. So, no, RK Jr. is not a drag on President Trump. He's not the most embattled. In fact, he is the most popular official in Trump's cabinet, at least according to the polling.
It is interesting, though there have been calls for his resignation among some people in the CDC, but this was surprising to me to see these poll numbers here, which is why I welcomed the fact check from you. Another thing in the news has to do with Florida, where they're trying to overturn all vaccine mandates, including vaccine mandates in school for children. What do the polls tell us about that?
Okay, this to me is one of the most interesting and, in my opinion, most troubling trend lines that we have seen. Okay, vax kids against infectious diseases, the government should require it. You go back to 1991, it was 81%, okay? Then we go to 2019 at 62%. Look at where that number fell to by 2024. It was just 51%. That is a 30-point drop from 34 years ago. My goodness gracious, now a bare majority say that the government should, in fact, require kids to be vaccinated against infectious diseases. Amongst Republicans, it's the opposite. The majority say the government shouldn't require it. Now, I should point out this does depend a little bit on question wording. The polling out this morning.
Of course, it depends on question wording.
Encourage it, but encourage it is very different from requiring it. And when it comes to requiring it, the American public has become increasingly skeptical of the idea that, in fact, the government should require kids to be vaccinated against infectious diseases.
And I want you here to talk about the political environment surrounding the health apparatus in this country right now, because I'm about to talk to David Urban, our friend David Urban, Republican, who I guarantee you is going to say something to the effect of that there's no trust anymore, or the trust has fallen among public officials when it comes to health.
Yeah, this to me, if you're a public health official, this is perhaps the most worrying statistic that you should see. Look at this. Look at this. How well masks and vaccines limit COVID. Public health officials lied. They lied. In 2022, it was 45%. Look at where that number is now. 55% of Americans believe that public health officials lied about COVID, masks, and vaccines and their effectiveness. So, yeah, there's a lot of problems. I think David Urban's going to have a lot to chew on in this upcoming segment, John.
All right, Harriet.
Yeah. So, a bare majority say the government should, in fact, require kids to be vaccinated. Yeah. RFK's not a drag on the president. He's the most embattled. In fact, he's the most popular official. See, like those numbers, though, I have to say, those numbers I think are really jacked because, you know, where are they getting the polling from? Because everything, the truth will set you free. Jim, can we trust anything CNN says? No, I see what CNN says, and I find the truth. The truth is that they're sounding the alarms that the Democrats are having problems, that there's going to be some problems for Democrats, that they're not popular. And when CNN says like, oh, you have to take like any figures CNN gives and then move it about 10 points. So that's where they're always about 10 points behind. So when they're saying RFK is -7, that means RFK is +3. My opinion, personal opinion. That's why the fact that 55% people think that only 55% think they lied during COVID is more troubling. Yeah. And so OAN, 15 Democrat governors launched public health alliance directly opposing the HHS. Huh. It's almost like, wouldn't that be called like sedition or insurrection? It's a health insurrection. Yeah, look at this. You got the fatard, the drunkard, and the ribtard. State governors launched a public health alliance to coordinate public health efforts directly undermining HHS. I guess you could just cut off all their HHS grants then. Since they have their own, they can just get their money themselves. So we saw this. So, yeah. The new alliance coalition is tasked with strengthening emergency preparedness, improving communications, and sharing data and expertise. Wait a minute. I thought they couldn't share the data. I thought there was laws against that. They said when the federal government wanted the data, they kept saying we can't give it to you, but they're going to give it to other states. Sounds kind of like they're violating. There's federal laws about sharing people's data. There's a whole HIPAA. Let's go after them for violating HIPAA. That would be funny. Cite the claim of nonpartisanship. All 15 of the governors involved belong to the Democrat Party. Yeah, so says it's an attack on science. California is proud to launch a new alliance. Yeah, because California is doing so great. The coalition appears to be formed in response to the proactive measures taken by HHS, including updating guidance on several vaccines aimed at strengthening public health strategies. In June, Secretary Kennedy also restructured the CDC and Prevention Advisory Committee on Immunization, the ACIP, appointing new members he selected to ensure the committee reflects his vision for transparent and accountable vaccine policies. Yeah, imagine that, all Democrats. Yeah, nonpartisan, that's a bigger joke than Kimmel has done in 10 years. A queen's sleep is necessary to reestablish public confidence in vaccine science. What are they afraid of? Are they actually afraid that people are actually going to start looking at the vaccines? The committee will no longer function as a rubber stamp for industry profit-taking agendas. Sounds great. HHS spokesperson went on to highlight that the Democrat leadership has already destroyed public trust by promoting unscientific school lockdowns, toddler mask mandates, and draconian vaccine passports. The new health coalition counts Dr. Mandy Cohen, the former CDC director under President Biden, as its top advisor. The CDC did provide an important backstop for expertise and support, and I think now with some of that gone, it's important for states to make sure that they're sharing best practices, that they are coordinating, because the problems have not gone away. The health threats have not gone away. COVID has not gone away. So yeah, there's that. Okay. All right. And then we're going to move on to the next story. We're going to keep it flowing tonight. We're going to move tonight. There was a hearing today. There was arguments today, oral arguments at SCOTUS on the Voting Rights Act and the legalities of having race-based districting. So let's see where this goes. Breaking news. SCOTUS Justice Clarence Thomas takes a blowtorch to the Voting Rights Act's district that favored Democrats on the basis of race. Thomas successfully makes the point that the black district would not exist in Louisiana without being forced to by the courts to consider race. Louisiana Solicitor General said that they would not have drawn up the district without being forced to draw it under SB 8. Thomas, what role did Robinson force Louisiana to draw another race district play in SB 8? And Anguinaga, we drew it because the court told us to. We'd never pass SB 8 without Robinson. They said a majority black district was required, and our legislature saw the marching order. You think this is going to be 7-2? I don't know. I mean, it's going to be 6-3 at a minimum, but I don't know. Maybe 7-2. The odds of Bella remaining stagnant are rising. So, Bella said, she told me earlier that she would only move in the third extra hour. So if we don't make it to the third extra hour, then she won't move. Clarence Thomas is the GOAT. He knows the VRA is ridiculous. So let's see. We're going to hear some of this argument stuff. We have some other arguments that we're going to listen to too that are funny.
What role did Robinson play in the development of SB 8?
Justice Thomas, Robinson is the only reason SB 8 exists. We fought tooth and nail in the Robinson litigation itself in telling the courts that we did not think the Constitution permitted us to draw a second majority black district. As you know, under protest, we drew SB 8 because the threat was that the federal courts were going to do it if we didn't. And that's, I mean, I think that's the best way to conceive of why SB 8 exists. We would never pass SB 8 in the first instance without Robinson, Justice Thomas.
What were the findings in Robinson?
The finding by the Middle District in Robinson was that the plaintiffs in this case were likely to show a violation of Section 2, and the likely violation, and I'm using very broad terminology because I do not know what the underlying violation is. I can't articulate that for you, Justice Thomas, because I don't think anybody can. But I think the finding in the district court's mind in that case was that the likelihood of a Section 2 violation.
Who do you think tells me what stories to pick? It's Bella. She's the one who picks the stories.
Like that was the bottom line, and when our legislature saw that, we understood the marching order, and that's why you see SB 8 as it exists today.
Just briefly, what were the findings that led to that conclusion?
Well, Your Honor, running through the preconditions and the totality of the circumstances, I mean, I think the totality of the circumstances did most of the work for the Middle District in Robinson. Senate Factor 1, the official history of past discrimination, Justice Thomas, we can never outrun the bad era of poll taxes, of grandfather clauses, of literacy tests. I think we're always going to lose across the board on that kind of analysis, and that's what the Middle District in Robinson focused on, is how bad was Louisiana in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and, you know, add all that together, and at the end you have a vote dilution finding that I don't think is clearly articulable in the way that SFFA requires a finding of discrimination to be specified.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? That's very interesting. What am I smoking? I'm smoking a vape pen that has stuff in it. I know a police dog at Malinois has something to say. Yeah, they do. Anyway, getting past your bedtime. All you good people have a great night. See you tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry, Hank. I didn't know you went to bed this early. Is this Benjamin fellow talking? He was talking. That was him. He was talking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why Bella's so tired. You're lost in all this? Okay, so there's a court case. Basically, what happened was there was a lawsuit filed against Louisiana years ago, and a federal court ordered them to draw a new district to add a second majority black district. Because we're going to find out, we're going to hear it from the ACLU lawyer and we're going to hear it from her own mouth that white Democrats won't vote for a black person. That, even though Republicans, if you look at all the black Republicans that are in Congress and you look at their districts, they are not majority black districts. They're majority white districts. And that they elect Democrat, let's see, Byron Donalds is in a district that's about 70% white. Then you got Wesley Hunt. You got who else? Burgess Owens. So you got a whole bunch of people. Rise just before it comes up. Okay, you get before the sun comes up. Yeah, Bella can read your minds. That's why she chooses to sleep instead. Yeah, she's listening. She's listening and paying attention. The argument for the VRA without segregation of districts, black votes will be diluted. The argument against the VRA is literally illegal. If Democrats want to segregate districts based on race, they'll have to repeal the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Democrats are a party of racial segregation. Some things never change. Yeah, it's here. You got the NAACP lawyer. The NAACP lawyer. It's Jim's house cell phone. Bella is the Jim's house cell phone. I don't know. So it's over redistricting. They're adding another demon district. No, they already added another majority black district, but they had to draw it in such a crazy way to make it majority black that it like they basically stretch from one end of the state to the other end of the state. Like in some areas, it's only one house wide. Like one house wide, the district. Go like one house going just to get to pick up these other places. Because the thing about the districts is they have to be connected. You can't separate them. You can't have a piece of a district here and a piece of district here. They have to be connected. What's it say? Ending racism via noble bigotry. Yeah.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Oh, wait, wrong shit. Sorry. Yeah, Big Bella instead of Big Brother. With that $2, we are now $44. $44 away from the first additional hour. Yes, we are. 44. You had to edit the word to get the chat to go? Are you serious? That's nuts. So this is NAACP lawyer, you're going to hear this, argues to the U.S. Supreme Court that it's necessary to create race-based congressional districts because white Democrats were not voting for black candidates, whether they were Democrats or not. These people are insane.
That's right. And in the state of Louisiana, that analysis was conducted in the Nairn case. And it was clear that regardless of party, white Democrats were not voting for black candidates, whether they were Democrats or not. And we know that there is such a significant chasm between how black and white voters vote in Louisiana that there's no question that even if there is some correlation between race and party, that race is the driving factor.
Can you comment on the Solicitor General's suggestion at page 20?
That's right. And in the state of Louisiana,
Oh, that's just crazy. Incidentally, her argument got destroyed. Yeah. Liberal Justice Sotomayor's argument in favor of black congressional districts was pummeled in front of the entire court. Yeah. Even if white Republicans or white Democrats won't vote for black candidates, if these were white Democrats, there's no reason to think they would have a second district. None of their argument is because these Democrats happen to be black, they get a second district. Here's the Principal Deputy Solicitor General.
Reason to think that a racial group is being treated
here too. You have proof of that here.
No, you don't. What you have here is that Republicans and Democrats are different. There's no
you have some that even white Republicans or white Democrats won't vote for black candidates.
Right, but if these were white Democrats, there's no reason to think they would have a second district. None. And so what is happening here is their argument is because these Democrats happen to be black, they get a second district. If they were all white, we all agree they wouldn't get a second district. That is literally the definition of race subordinating traditional principles.
Justice Kagan?
A reason to think that.
Here's Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. I am not a biologist. Says that race should determine congressional districts because black voters are disabled. She says black voters are disabled. That they don't have equal access to the voting system. They're disabled.
I guess I'm thinking of it, of the fact that remedial action absent discriminatory intent is really not a new idea. in the civil rights laws. And my kind of paradigmatic example of this is something like the ADA. Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act against the backdrop of a world that was generally not accessible to people with disabilities. And so it was discriminatory in effect because these folks were not able to access these buildings. And it didn't matter whether the person who built the building or the person who owned the building intended for them to be exclusionary. That's irrelevant. Congress said the facilities have to be made equally open to people with disabilities if readily possible. I guess I don't understand why that's not what's happening here. The idea in Section 2 is that we are responding to current day manifestations of past and present decisions that disadvantage minorities and make it so that they don't have equal access to the voting system, right? They're disabled. In fact, we use the word disable in Milligan. We say that's a way in which you see that these processes are not equally open.
If they don't get special treatment, it means they're being victimized, apparently. Pretty much. Always race related. Yes, it is. Yeah. Tanji's legal argument is now literally, trust me, bro, she is to SCOTUS what Jasmine Crockett is to the Congress. How unprofessional. What a disgrace to the court.
I don't understand why your answer to Justice Kagan's question about is this a compelling state interest is no. The answer is obviously yes, that you have an interest in remedying the effects of racial discrimination that we identify using this tool. Whether you go too far in your remedy is another issue, right?
Your Honor, I think step zero in all of these cases, it was certainly step zero in the Robinson litigation, is the plaintiffs came in and said, we want another majority black district.
I thought they came in and said, we are not receiving equal electoral opportunity because our votes are being diluted.
Which is the same way of saying we deserve a second
No,
majority
it's
black
not,
district.
because again, just trust me on this. The second
Just trust me,
electoral
bro.
or second district is a remedy that one could offer for a problem that we've identified. And the whole Robinson litigation was about identifying the problem. Is this really happening? In many, many Section 2 cases, the court says, you're wrong, you're fine. There is not an electoral opportunity being denied to you, go away. In this case, the court said, I see. I'm looking at the factors. I appreciate what you're saying. You've proven that we have this problem. And so the next question is, how do we go about remedying it?
Bedtime. You want to say hi? Say hi, everyone. I say, I gotta go to bed.
Hi, Bella.
All right.
Okay, we'll get back.
Need milk or something? Where'd your binky go? Hold on one second, everybody. Be right back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Sorry. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay. So, grandson Miak. All right. Let's see. So here, so we got a couple more to talk about. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the Jasmine Crockett of the Supreme Court. And then, not since Sotomayor has justice been so woefully unqualified. Mm-hmm. This is right here is breaking news. Yes. Everybody's got the Bella Jones. Yeah. Notice Bella's unfazed. Yes. Jim needs to start grifting on grandson visits. We could take bets on how many visits the kids make. Well, odds are because he went to sleep early tonight. He went to sleep by like 7:30, 8 o'clock. He was just out. So I have a bad feeling he might be. Yeah. Might be a problem. Every minority of their ancestors weren't here when there were Jim Crow laws, so their logic shouldn't apply to immigrant black people. Yeah, it shouldn't, but But see, the problem is the argument is that according to the Democrats, according to the courts and the NAACP and all these people, is that Democrats are racist and white Democrats won't vote for a black candidate. So that's why we have to have black Democrat districts. But if you look around the country and look at the black Republicans that are elected, they're not in majority black districts. So what's that say? That Republicans are the least racist people around? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, maybe the fact that if you go back in history and you look at the first 13 black people that were ever elected to Congress, they were all Republicans. Just saying. Yeah, it's because Democrats are racist. Yes, that's right. So the Supreme Court is signaling it will strike down Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, allowing Republicans to redraw southern districts to eliminate 12 or more Democrat-held seats in the House. This, my friends, has the Democrats sweating. Because if this happens, and this comes down, and this decision comes down soon enough, you're going to see states like Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi. You're going to see them start going rock. And, there's going to be a bunch of less Democrats in Congress. Yeah. KKK Democrat means the same thing. Yeah. 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 Prop 50 won't make a shit. That's right. But, we'll see. They're going to, Illinois says they're going to redraw and they're going to draw out so that's what's going to be. They're just going to be, basically the states are going to draw out any representation for the people that aren't, in charge. That's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So this is what it could look like. Mm-hmm. You can lose basically, you'll have the districts around Atlanta, but you're going to lose in this one district around North Carolina and, 2 districts in North Carolina and probably 2 or 3 districts in Florida, but that's it, man. The rest is going to be gone. Yeah, it's already happened. The Dem states have already done it, basically, but they didn't do it. They gerrymandered out Republicans. They did it in Illinois. They did it in California. And they're doing it in all these other states. So, I don't know. I mean, the problem is that when you do gerrymandering like this for when you try to gerrymander out certain things, it could backfire on you where you could think you can end up getting a big wipeout because, if the electorate shifts a little bit, things change, or if you gerrymander in a way because you're looking at a census or something that happened, it will actually homogenize the population overall. Yeah. It could. Hey, Spuds, what's up? Yo, what's up, Spuds? How's it going? Actually, yeah. Mm-hmm. Hi, Spuds. Debs will try and swap colors. Yeah, it'll do something. You can't segregate districts based on race. It's a violation of both the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the 14th Amendment. Democrats have been violating the Constitution in order to cheat the system and rig elections. They're not nearly as popular as they appear to be. You're worried this red wave will be nothing again? It says, yeah, I'd vote for Winsome Sears and a number of other black conservative candidates if I was in their district. Yeah. SCOTUS appears skeptical of maintaining race-based districts. The Supreme Court on Wednesday appeared hesitant to maintain racially drawn congressional districts during oral arguments in a Louisiana redistricting case. At issue is Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which bars racial discrimination in balloting. The Louisiana case addresses a prior court order requiring that legislature draft a second black majority district. During oral arguments, Associate Justice Neil Gorsuch appeared skeptical of allowing states to explicitly use race as a criteria for drawing such districts. Mm-hmm. Do states have the breathing room to intentionally discriminate on the basis of race? To which counsel replied, they have the breathing room to use race to remedy their own discrimination. Associate Justice Clarence Thomas, for his part, pointedly asked, would the maps that Louisiana have currently be used if they were not forced to consider race? Louisiana's Solicitor General insisted the state would not have passed its current maps but for the court order. Mm-hmm. And New York is trying to re-gerrymander itself again as illegals get removed, causing population loss and minorities move off the plantation. Even blue states will become purpler. Yeah, it'll happen. Should the courts abolish race-based districting, Republicans are expected to act quickly to eliminate them, and the shift could see the GOP gain nearly 20 seats in the 2026 midterms. That'd be hysterical. And Breitbart says, NAACP lawyer at Supreme Court, race-based districts are needed because white Democrats did not vote for black candidates. Mm-hmm. Janae Nelson, a lawyer for the NAACP, argued before the Supreme Court on Wednesday that it is necessary to have a second majority black district in Louisiana because white Democrats were not voting for black candidates, whether they were Democrats or not. It was clear that regardless of party, white Democrats were not voting for black candidates, whether they were Democrats or not. The lawyer for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. How come they didn't have to change their name to People of Color? I thought saying colored people was racist. Did they get the memo? We know that there is such a significant chasm between how black and white voters vote in Louisiana, and there is no question that even if there is some correlation between race and party, the race is the driving factor. What if the black people wanted to vote for a white person? They're not allowed to? I don't understand this. I don't understand this. Yeah, it should be the NAAPOC. Mm-hmm. Why does it say view on Twitter? Oh, okay. NAACP lawyer argues that SCOTUS that it's necessary to create race-based congressional districts because white Democrats are racists. Okay. I think we listened to this. But.
That's right. And in the state of Louisiana, that analysis was conducted in the Nairn case. And it was clear that regardless of party, white Democrats were not voting for black candidates.
Wow. Bunch of racist white Democrats. Nelson on Blue Sky eulogized the death of Assata Shakur, a fugitive black militant who was given political asylum in Cuba after she had been serving a life sentence for killing a police officer. Yes. Yeah, well, I guess you're not allowed to to say it's equality. Even though Martin Luther King said it was something about, content of their character, not the color of their skin. But I guess according to the NAACP, it's all about the color of the skin. Obviously, Bella is full of Velveeta. Yes. Yeah. It's not true. Obama, all the white people voted for him. Yeah. It's Kangs of color. Okay, I'm sorry. My bad. My bad, Sanglight. She wrote in September, still heartbroken over the passing of freedom fighter Asada Olugabulo. That sounds, oh my God, that's her middle name. Olugabulo Shakur, who died in exile in Cuba. She wasn't in exile. She was on the run. She was a murderer. And she was broken out of prison. As black areas become gentrified by white lefty Dems, the NAAPOC will be slicing its own throat and diluting their own race-based voting bloc. Yeah, well, I think Bera is televised. Asada means she who struggles, and she never left the struggle even during her decades of asylum. May she rest in peace and power as an example of undaunted resistance and resilience. So just remember, they hate you. They do hate you. Let's do the same analysis, shall we? How many black voters vote for white candidates? Be interesting, wouldn't it? The Supreme Court is rehearing the case Louisiana versus Calais, a case that could result in the elimination of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, a provision that bars racial gerrymandering when it dilutes minority voting power, according to Politico. If it bars racial gerrymandering, why would it promote this? It doesn't make sense to me. Personally, I think they should just draw the lines like this. Just make straight lines. No, none of this crazy shit. Just blop, 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 blop. Just even. It should all be done by computer. Just, statistically. No bullshit. Newsweek explained the case like this. There goes Bella. She's turning over. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act prohibits any voting practice or districting plan that results in a racial or language minority voters having less opportunity than others to participate in the political process and elect candidates of their choice. The dispute, consolidated with Robinson v. Calais, stems from Louisiana's 2022 redistricting and raises fundamental questions about how states balance the protection of minority voters with constitutional limits on race-based decision-making. At the center is Louisiana's congressional map known as Senate Bill 8, adopted after a federal court ordered the creation of a second majority black district to remedy vote dilution. The court later struck SB 8 down, concluding it amounted to racial gerrymandering that violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. I want to know why the lighting looks so bad today. There's hardly any light on Bella. Very weird. Is it because am I blocking her from getting light? Maybe I gotta get another light for Bella. A report from Fair Fight Action and Black Voters Matter Fund, two Democrat voting rights groups, found that a victory at the Supreme Court result in a virtually guaranteed Republican majority in the House. Politico explained, while a ruling in time for next year's midterms is unlikely, the organizations behind the report said that it's not out of the question, taken together, that the groups identified 27 total seats that Republicans could redistrict in their favor ahead of the midterms, 19 of which stem from Section 2 being overturned. Doing so would clear the path for a one-party system where power serves the powerful and science is the people. So a one-party system like they have in California, in Illinois, in New York, like that system? Is that what you're talking about? Massachusetts? All those states that have, even though the 40% of the people vote Republican, they don't have any Republican congressman. Fair Fight Action CEO Lauren Grawargo said in a statement that voiding Section 2 would do permanent damage. The only way to stop it is to play offense, aggressively redraw maps wherever possible, focus relentlessly on taking back Congress, and be ready to use that power to pass real pro-democracy legislation and hold this corrupt court accountable. Wow, you're calling the court corrupt. That's not a good way to actually get them to side with you. And then Newsbuster says CNN freaks out that SCOTUS might do away with race-based districts. As the Supreme Court gathered to determine the fate of race-based congressional districts, the cast of CNN's Wednesday edition of Inside Politics gathered for its corresponding freak-out section. Most notably, Atlanta Journal-Constitution Washington Bureau Chief Tia Mitchell tried to claim that such districts are still necessary because black voters are still being disenfranchised by Republicans. Doesn't sound like it's Republicans doing it. Host Dana Bash set Mitchell up by declaring, there's so many critical angles of this, and the way that the House of Representatives would look would be different in terms of numbers, but also in the way we look in terms of race and representation. Tia mentioned Chief Justice Roberts. If you go back to 2007, in one of the opinions he wrote, he said, the way to stop discrimination on the basis of race is to stop discriminating on the basis of race. She then scoffed. That's a lovely thought. And the question before the court is whether the United States of America is there right now. Well, you and me both. You thought voting districts were supposed to be based on population? Yeah.
There's so many critical angles to this, and the way that the House of Representatives would look would be different in terms of numbers, but also the way it would look in terms of race and representation would be very, very different. And Tia, David mentioned Chief Justice Roberts. If you go back to 2007, and one of the opinions that he wrote, he said, the way to stop discrimination on the basis of race is to stop discriminating based on race. That is a lovely thought. Mm-hmm. And the question before the court is whether the United States of America is there right now.
And my question is the court, how do you find evidence that states, and of course this is going to have a trickle-down effect all the way down to local governments, but there's repeatedly evidence that race, black voters are being disenfranchised. They're not getting equal representation. So even at that Louisiana map, when you're talking about a state where 1/3 of the voters are black, but that is not reflected in a lot of these governing bodies, particularly in Congress, until they were mandated to draw that second majority black district. So how do you now argue, well, we think if left to own their devices, the legislators in Louisiana are going to do the right thing? There's just not evidence of that. So, and I know that there are a lot of people who say we're past that. We're past the Jim Crow era. We're past the era of just drawing maps just to disenfranchise black people. But there is evidence. Black Voters Matter, they put out a really good primer on this case. And they talked about that there are, Republican operatives that were helping draw maps in multiple states that talked about using race as a factor in how they drew lines in certain states. So the evidence I know that there are a lot of people who want it to be, want it to be a certain way, but
they were forced to use race by the court, lady. What the fuck are you talking about? They were forced to use race. My question, how do you find evidence that states, of course, is going to have a trickle-down effect, historically speaking? So even at the Louisiana map, when you're talking about the state where 1/3 of voters are black, it's not reflected in a lot of the governing bodies. So these people just want everything to be equity, not equality. Equity. Oh, there's a third, so there has to be 1/3. Are they going to be okay with that when we start going like government jobs? When we start saying, well, there's only 6% black women in the United States, so you can only have 6% of the government jobs. So all these places where it's 30, 40, 50% of the people are black women working there. Maybe we should fire those people? Is that what she's saying? I'm sure that's not what she's saying. Mitchell's entire point was that the opponents of Section 2 need to prove America's moved past the need for its existence, but the opposite is true. Mitchell needs to prove that America is still stuck in the days of Jim Crow, poll taxes, and literacy tests. mean, I think we should have literacy tests to vote. That's what I think. But yeah. Yeah. Widespread panic breaks out among Democrats after CNN reveals they're maxed out on gerrymandering and falling behind in the polls compared to where they should be. You go along in the states, Democrats run out of room. Republicans are able to gain. It's not even taking into account the potential of gutting of the VRA before the Supreme Court. If both sides max out, there are more Republican gains. Add to that 10, 12, 15, 17 seats on top of the 7 seats. Democrats are no longer keeping pace. The Democrats have an 8-point advantage. If it hasn't happened, Democrats have stayed basically steady, falling off pace, way out ahead back in 2017 on the generic ballot. And now we're looking at Democrats ahead, but far back. Folks are saying, wait a minute, given redistricting, is Democrat plus 3 enough? No, because you're polling California and Illinois and New York.
2018, right? Because that's sort of the baseline. That was, of course, the first Trump term. That was where Democrats were sort of keeping pace. You go back to April, look at the generic congressional ballot. What you see? You see plus 3 Democrats in 2025 in April. You see plus 3 Democrats back in April of 2017. Now jump over to this side of the screen. What happens? Well, the Democrats are no longer keeping pace with the pace that they were setting back in 2017, 2018. You look back in 2017, you saw that the Democrats had leaped up to an 8-point advantage. I remember covering this. I remember a lot of folks, including myself, saying, you know what, Republicans look pretty decent right now in terms of the fact that they had the House, they had the Senate, they had the presidency, but things were likely going to flip. And I was looking for the same signs this year. The bottom line is it hasn't happened, Kate Ball. When it hasn't happened, Democrats have stayed basically steady. They have fallen off the pace. Democrats were way out ahead back in 2017 on the generic congressional ballot. And now we're basically looking at Democrats ahead. But again, they are so far in back of the pace that they set back there. And so I think what a lot of folks are seeing, folks like myself, are saying, wait a minute, given what we might be seeing in redistricting, is this plus 3 going to be enough, Kate Baldwin?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. One change from that cycle is also this mid-decade redistricting effort that we've been covering so much. You add that in, and what do you get?
Okay, so we add that, and we take a look at the national picture, but then we, of course, taking a look at the state legislators, right? They are potentially changing things, and there are
look at her having a drink.
on here. First off, net mid-decade redistricting gains. If both sides max out at this point, there are more Republican gains possible than Democratic gains. Yes, the Democrats might try to counter a Texas and a California, but you go along in the different states, and basically Democrats run out of room where Republicans are able to gain and gain and gain. If both sides max out, we're probably looking at a GOP gain of plus 7 House seats. That doesn't even take into account the potential gutting of the VRA that is right now going to be in front of the Supreme Court. If you add that in, you could be looking.
Voting Rights Act.
What? Yes,
Voting
exactly right. The Voting Rights Act.
Voting Rights Act.
Then you could be looking about adding 10, 12, 15, 17 on top of this 7 seats. So I think a lot of folks like myself are looking at this. We're seeing, hey, wait a minute. Those national polls are Democrats are not gaining the way that we expected.
That's right. They're not gaining the way they expected because they're out here fighting for illegal aliens. They might have some people confused with the bullshit they put on TV, but pretty much CCW is gaining momentum. Mm-hmm. And then we got this crazy ruling. We got this another next story. We're moving on. Crazy ruling out of Illinois, effective immediately at the direction of Governor Pritzker by the way of Cook County Chief Judge Timothy Evans. ICE and Border Patrol agents are barred from making arrests of illegal aliens at Chicago courts. Chicago courts are now protecting child rapists.
Cook County Circuit Chief Judge Timothy Evans is barring civil arrests of people when they are at county courts. Evans said in a statement, quote, access to justice depends on every individual's ability to appear in court without fear or obstruction. Our courthouses remain places where all people, regardless of their background or circumstance, should be able to safely and confidently participate in the judicial process. Cook County Circuit Chief Judge.
So this judge is going to find out a little bit about the so sick of these communist judges. The same people in Chicago should revolt. Defund Chicago. More evidence of insurrection. I had more on this though. Let me look. I had let me look. I thought I had more. Let me try to find it. 1 second. Oh, wait. This is one thing. This is something I wanted to pull up. So, on the steps of SCOTUS after listening to the oral arguments in the important Voting Rights Act case, this person did a tremendous job. So here's Harmeet Dillon.
Hi, Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon and my Principal Deputy Jesus Ossetti here on the steps of the United States Supreme Court, where we just got out of a 2.5-hour oral argument on the important Voting Rights Act case, Louisiana versus Calais, and there was a companion case as well. We were on the United States' amicus brief, which was extremely ably argued by our Solicitor General colleague, Hash Mupin, who I think had the court really animated. They were looking at specific pages of our brief and asking questions about formulating a test to, sort of navigate competing strains of Voting Rights Act Section 2 jurisprudence. It was really fascinating and a tremendous honor to be there and see top-notch advocacy coming out of the court. Hi, Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon.
All right, hold on. So this is it right here. So we kept the fence up as long as we could until the very last hour last night. That's how important the fence was to us. The fencing around the Broadview facility was ordered to be removed by a judge. And it won't deter us from protecting the facility.
That's what this is all about. That fence, the National Guard, state and locals helping us is to make our community and our homeland a safer place. That's what this whole thing is about. In the end, is to make this community and Ma and Pa America a safer place. We'll not be deterred from that. And by God, we're going to do that. It's a shout out to those state and local officers that are stepping up, especially the Illinois state troopers and Cook County Sheriff's Office. Broadview Police Department has some officers there as well. They're doing a great job. They're in a very difficult situation against some very violent protesters that we've seen are bringing weapons, semi-automatic weapons, and then assaulting immigration officers, ICE and Border Patrol agents while those weapons are on their person. That's what those Illinois state troopers are up against right now. And then to what you said towards the fence being taken down, we kept that fence up as long as we could up until the very last hour last night. That's how important that fence was to us. Anything we can do to protect a federal facility is what we're going to do. That's why the fence was up there in the first place. Allie, when you have extremists and weak-minded individuals, the same people we've just talked about, that are killing detainees in ICE custody, shooting illegal aliens dead in ICE custody, absolutely, that's something to be concerned about at the Broadview facility or any other federal detention facility. That's why that fence was up. It was taken down by a judge. You wonder what those judges are thinking there, whether it's legislating from the bench or what. But definitely it's something we're looking at. We're going to protect that facility at the end of the day. We've got Bureau of Prisons out there helping us. We've got Border Patrol agents, ICE officers, and many others. We wanted the National Guard out there for this very reason, for that No King's March, for the violence that is being perpetrated against the Broadview facility. Again, another judge who must not know what they're talking about or what they're doing or legislating from the bench had that fence taken down, and then the National Guard's not there now. That's why we were asking for the National Guard and their expertise in protecting federal facilities. We'll keep it protected, but every agent that you use to protect that facility is an agent that's not out on the street arresting Latin kings that are putting bounties on people's heads, gang members, child rapists, and all the other bad people and bad things that are walking the streets of Chicago right now as we speak, hurting American citizens.
That's right. That's right. So here we go. Cook County judge blocks ICE arrests at courthouses. This is Fox 32. Cook County judge bars ICE arrests at courthouses.
Free furnace with the purchase.
Oh, free furnace with a purchase or lease.
Yeah, Dad, you should choose a company like Four Seasons. They have
Cook County judge bars ICE arrests at courthouses. A top judge in Cook County signed an order barring immigration arrests at courthouses, which advocates say dissuaded clients from appearing in courts. I don't think this judge has the power to tell. I don't think this judge has the power to tell the federal government where to enforce federal law. I just don't think it's possible.
Start though with breaking news. Cook County's top judge signs an order barring ICE from arresting people at court. And this includes the city of Chicago, which has seen a federal immigration crackdown, as you know, in recent months. This has been a tactic for some federal agents who have been stationed outside the county courthouse for weeks to make arrests once their targets leave the building. Local immigration and legal advocates have called for an order like this, saying their clients were avoiding court out of fear of being detained. The judge's order takes effect today.
Yeah, so the move follows weeks of federal immigration enforcement. So let's see. So these sanctuary places like Chicago, New York, California, they won't
Free
tell.
furnace with the purchase of an AC.
Dad nothing.
They won't tell. They won't tell ICE like, "Hey, we're releasing this guy. Come get him," or nothing. So, but now they're saying, so they go to court to get him. ICE will just send undercover to follow them and make an arrest outside of court. Well, actually, the judge's order actually says they can't arrest people that are on their way to court. Joe says it no longer matters if the judges have the power or not. The administration will comply because they don't want the bad PR because it's good right now. There's so much shaking your head. Yeah. Well, it's ridiculous once the judge ordered them to take down the fence because it blocks the path for emergency vehicles. Maybe just open the gates for them. Yeah, they were. It's all bullshit. No. Cook County's top judge signed an order barring ICE from arresting people at court. What we know, Cook County includes Chicago, which has seen federal immigration crackdown. This has been a common tactic for federal agents who have been stationed outside county courthouses for weeks, making arrests and drawing crowds. Local immigration and legal advocates, including the county's public defender's office, have called for an order like this. The order, which takes effect Wednesday, bars the civil arrest. These people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It's still a crime. And any party witness or potential witness while going to court proceedings. The Cook County Circuit Chief Judge, Timothy Evans, said justice depends on every individual's ability to appear in court without fear or obstruction. I mean, I guess, if that's what they say. I don't know. Mm-hmm. This is just nutso, man. Yeah. Yeah, the judge has no control outside the courthouse. Yeah, the judge has zero control outside the courthouse. Doesn't have authority at all. Yeah, the DOJ must go after the judge like they did in Wisconsin. Well, they should start looking into these judges to see what, where they're getting money from, who's paying them. It said going to court proceedings, not leaving them, so my comment stands, they will just follow and take them down. They weren't arresting people going into the court. They were arresting people going out of the court. She's going to move again. See that? Let's see what she did. Now she just went the other way. She's demanding payment. AP says county judge in Illinois bars ICE from arresting people at court. Cook County's top judge has signed an order barring ICE from arresting people at courthouses. Cook County includes Chicago. Detaining residents outside court has been a common tactic for federal agents who have been stationed outside courthouses for weeks. I don't even think this judge has the authority to deny them to arrest people in the court building, just not in the courtrooms, maybe, but not in the court building. while going to court proceedings, including arrests made inside courthouses and in parking lots, surrounding sidewalks and entryways. It says the entire building. It's saying on the sidewalk even. This judge thinks. Homeland Security defended the practice of making arrests at courthouses, calling it common sense. We aren't some medieval kingdom. There's no legal sanctuaries where you can hide and avoid consequences for breaking the law. Nothing in the Constitution prohibits arresting a lawbreaker where you find them. Local immigration and legal activists, including the county's public defender's office, have called for an order like this, saying clients were avoiding court out of fear of being detained. Representatives said they've seen immigration and customs enforcement presence outside of courthouses increases. Yeah, is the judge going to enforce the order? How's the judge going to enforce the order? What are they going to do? They can try arresting the ICE agents, hold the ICE agents in contempt. They're going to have a major problem called the Supremacy Clause. It'll get removed in federal court. They have numerous conversations with clients who are presented with a difficult decision of either missing court and receiving an arrest warrant or coming to court and risk being arrested by ICE. Yeah, sidewalks are around courthouses are the right of way and are the most public space you can find. Yeah, next coming to Chicago is arrest only here zones. Yeah, it's real weird how this judge came out with this ruling right after the mayor of Chicago said he was going to find a way to have ICE free zones in Chicago. Domestic violence advocacy organizations also signed a petition this month calling for the Cook County judge to issue the order. Said a woman was arrested by ICE last month while entering the domestic violence courthouse. This is necessary and overdue action to ensure the people of Cook County can access the courts without fear. The justice depends on every individual's ability to appear in court. The tactic of detaining people at courthouses is part of the larger jump in courthouse immigration arrests across the country. The flurry of immigration enforcement operations at courthouses has been condemned by judicial officials and legal organizations, has also drawn lawsuits from some states and the adoption of bills seeking to block the practice. They cannot, don't these people understand? The federal government is the supreme law, and the immigration law is a federal law, and they're enforcing federal law. You can't fucking declare you're a sanctuary from federal law. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work that way. President Trump's administration sued the state of New York over a 2020 law barring federal immigration agents from making arrests at state, city, or municipal courthouses. State House Democrats vowed to adopt resolutions condemning federal immigration crackdown. Good for them. The second day of a 6-day fall legislative session in Springfield, Illinois Speaker Emanuel Welch decried the federal government actually enforcing the law. We won't sit back and let our democracy be taken from us. The fuck are they talking about? These people are not citizens. They can't vote. Are you saying they're voting? And you're afraid them getting arrested is taking your democracy away? What the fuck are they talking about? Welch said there are discussions about legislation to restrict federal agents' patrol. He lambasted reports that ICE arrests in medical facilities and applauded the ruling prohibiting warrantless arrests in their courthouses. If we could do something similar statewide, I'd love to get that done, because what's happening is these ICE agent courthouses are unacceptable. People are afraid to go to court. No, yeah. A local judge in Illinois does not have any power over the feds. No, they don't. None at all. Yeah. A judge already tried this, tried to hold ICE agents in contempt in another jurisdiction, and it got shut down. If you press the accessibility at the bottom left, it can read the article for you. Why, you don't like the way I read? ICE is causing this mayhem. They're the ones throwing tear gas when people are peacefully protesting. They were throwing bricks at him, you fucking liar. Hundreds of people attended Whistlemania events citywide and make thousands of whistle kits. Know Your Rights flyers. GoFundMe pages have launched to pay the legal costs for members detained by ICE, most recently a landscaper. Whatever. Democrats are doing all this, it does remove the ads. Oh, okay. All the stupid Trump lawsuits, don't need to sue them. It's not illegal or illegal. Just do what you have to do. I voted to get the people out, not play games. Yeah. Cartels have placed $50,000 bounties on the heads of ICE and CBP, and we have federal judges named LaShonda forcing them to make it easier. Yeah. LaShonda Hunt, the Biden-appointed judge, has ordered ICE to remove the fence surrounding the Broadview facility in Illinois. Tonight is the deadline for removal. Oh. Yeah, LaShonda. Cartels are waging war against America, and the Democrats, like New Scum and Prickster and Scummer, are relentlessly attacking the same law enforcement heroes the cartels are targeting with violence. Foreign criminal networks have issued explicit instructions to U.S.-based groups, including street gangs, to monitor, harass, and assassinate federal agents.
It's incredibly disturbing, Sandra. Homeland Security investigations, the FBI, our interagency intelligence partners are really all over this. What we're seeing, as you mentioned, is this tiered system, this coordinated and highly organized waging of war against our law enforcement and a terror campaign against them. We're seeing that they're offering $2,000 for intelligence about our ICE law enforcement agents surrounding, including their family, to dox them, $5,000 to kidnap an ICE law enforcement agent, and then even more money to kill them. And we've talked a lot about on this program and on other programs on this network about these ICE apps to locate ICE and CBP agents. And it's not just obstruction of justice that we've been seeing with that. We're also seeing this. They're now handing intelligence over to these cartels, these criminal rings, to go after our law enforcement, harass them, dox them, kidnap them, and God forbid, kill them, Sandra. It's very disturbing.
Yeah, here's part of this.
It's incredibly disturbing, Sandra.
It's incredibly disturbing. Foreign criminal networks putting bounties on ICE agents proves the stakes. Weak sanctuary laws and sanctuary policies embolden cartels. Chicago gangs offering $50K to assassinate federal officers. That's the direct result of New Scum and Prickster sabotaging enforcement while shielding violent illegals. Operation Midway Blitz exposed Tren de Aragua's members, MS-13 killers, and deported over 1,000 criminal aliens in Illinois alone. Yet Democrats still attack ICE instead of the cartels funding these hits. When sanctuaries block ICE raids, they're not protecting communities, they're enabling foreign death squads to target American law enforcement. Every assault on ICE is a policy choice by leftist politicians who value open borders over national survival. Now, this is a U.S. citizen who, along with his cousin, was arrested for assaulting and throwing rocks at law enforcement. That is a 40-millimeter launcher that fires beanbags and rubber projectiles. But keep making this thug your poster child. Yeah, because here's this retard, Joe Walsh, this guy who was a fucking rhino who snuck in under the Tea Party claiming to be a Republican, a conservative. This is him. Ready? Here's the thing. We still have power probably to say that this image must not be what America is. We still have the power to say, F no, we refuse to allow this to be the streets of America. Attend a No Kings rally this Saturday and then vote 2026. Oh, so right away, just defend, look at this, look at the crazy lady's eyes. This guy, oh shit, I threw rocks at you, SA, I'm sorry. There's another one. False. These are more disgusting smears peddled by the media and billboard law firms. These are the facts immediately following illegal aliens ramming law enforcement with their vehicle, which resulted in the arrest of 2 illegal aliens from Venezuela. A violent mob began to surround law enforcement. Among them, a U.S. citizen teenager threw eggs and hit a CBP officer in the head. Agents observed him gathering rocks after objects had already been thrown at law enforcement. The individual was arrested for assault and taken to FBI field office in Chicago, where he freely admitted without questioning to throwing eggs at agents. His attorneys met with him at the field office, and he was released without charges. Why was he released without charges? A 15-year-old citizen was disappeared by the feds for 5 hours after an East Side protest, his attorney said. Yeah, didn't do nothing. Chicago ICE protester says, free Tyler Robinson. He's a patriot. F. Charlie Kirk.
What I said, fuck Charlie Kirk.
Why free Tyler Robinson?
Because he's a patriot.
Tyler Robinson is a patriot.
I mean it. What the fuck you think I'm hiding the song? I done said this shit a million times.
What makes him a patriot?
Because he got rid of a piece of shit.
Okay. And you think that's a good thing to kill people who disagree with you?
I think it's a good thing to take a racist out.
Okay. How do you know he was racist?
Because he a piece of shit. Look at what he said. So if you see a black pilot, then you got to wonder, is he qualified? You a piece of shit, gang?
He just doesn't like
His
DEI.
wife's still out here racist. He don't like what?
What has his wife done that's
He don't
racist?
like what? That weak-ass Super Bowl show because Bad Bunny Puerto Rican. That's some racist shit.
Yeah, unity, folks. You better have unity with these people. Yeah, have unity with them. Well, hey, should have. I can tell I'm in an unforgiving mood when I say, really, I want a civil war. Well, release with no charges. Were the agents lying then? If not, arrest them. Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. After a Biden judge ordered the protective fence removed, the south side of ICE Broadview was declared a no protest zone. Demonstrators are now confined to a small northeast area, and they're furious. Tensions are rising fast.
Stop physically. DHS says one of the, or both of them, I should say, are Venezuelan and in the U.S. illegally. One of them had an order for removal from 2024. A crowd formed up, and Chicago police say they started throwing rocks. So tear gas and other crowd control weaponry was used to disperse the people. Meantime, the fence surrounding the ICE facility here in Broadview, Illinois, is down. It came down with an hour to go before the court-ordered midnight deadline. The mayor of Broadview acknowledged that the protests here get out of control, so the area on the southwest side of the ICE facility has been declared a no protest zone, primarily to keep people from walking into traffic. The demonstrators are now restricted to a small zone here on the northeast side, and the protesters don't like it.
It seems like they're trying to push us out or trying to make it so the protest is less effective. I'm not the only one that feels this is unconstitutional. People are going to get more angry and they're going to come out.
Stop physically. DHS says one of the, or both of them, I should say, are Venezuelan.
Oh, so he just thinks that they should be able to stop them from doing their jobs, I guess. And Chicago ICE protesters crash out via megaphone. Woman yelling at the police says, "You're traitors." Chose Jimmy Choo not cooking with Kurt Mood tonight. Somehow I got past members only. Quality over quantity. I know Jim deserves more, but it will happen. I'm just doing the show here. I know I'm up against Ricada coming back. You know, he's been gone. He's back tonight, so that's rough. And Joe's going live, so it is what it is. I mean, there's still 70 people here. 75 people watching on YouTube. You know, that's good. Shame! 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 Bella doesn't like the whistle. The whistle is bothering Bella. That whistle is bothering Bella. All right. A federal grand jury has indicted a Mexican national, Juan Espinoza Martinez, for putting a $10,000 hit on U.S. Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino. The indictment alleges that Martinez used a facility of interstate commerce, mainly an Apple phone, Model 16 iPhone, and SC, which I think is Snapchat, with the intent that a murder be committed. Life in prison.
Just in moments ago in a Fox News alert, a federal grand jury indicting the Latin Kings gang member accused of putting a bounty on the head of Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino. Our national correspondent Griff Jenkins here in Washington with the latest on this. Griff?
Yeah, John, that individual is a Mexican national named Juan Martinez. And just moments ago, I'm looking at the indictment. It alleges that Martinez knowingly used a facility of interstate commerce, namely an Apple Model 16 phone and Snapchat, with the intent that a murder be committed. John, this comes as a threat to ICE has never been higher. DHS says there's now a tiered bounty system set up by Mexican cartels. They are offering $2,000 for gathering intelligence or doxing immigration agents, $5,000 to $10,000 for kidnapping ICE or CBP officers, and up to $50,000 for the assassination of a high-ranking officer. Now, with Martinez, that alleged Latin King gang member, he was accused of putting this bounty on the Border Patrol's commander at large. That's Greg Bovino. His specific bounty was $2,000 on info and $10,000 if you, quote, take him down. The gang member's attorney is denying his client has any ties to the Latin Kings gang and paints him as a law-abiding family man. But Chief Bovino refutes that, adding the threat environment is increasing.
Things have changed a lot. Since those bounties were put out, we've had to take different measures to keep our agents safe, our ICE officers safe, and our allied law enforcement agents safe as they go into the field. That lethality is increasing, and I think it's because of the bounties and that crazy rhetoric by the out-of-control governor and mayor.
Meanwhile, in the wake of anti-ICE riots in places like Chicago, AG Pam Bondi says Facebook has removed an ICE spotting group targeting officers. Writing on X, the wave of violence against ICE has been driven by online apps and social media campaigns designed to put ICE officers at risk just for doing their jobs. The Department of Justice will continue engaging tech companies to eliminate platforms where radicals can incite imminent violence against federal law enforcement. A spokesperson for Meta, Facebook's parent company, confirms that group was removed for violating their policies. In just one final note, Juan Martinez, the alleged gang member putting a bounty on Greg Bovino's head, that individual is in federal custody. John?
He's in federal custody. Federales. The federales have him. 1 second, I'm closing some tabs here. I got way too many open. All right. Sensible words from Jeffrey Mead, worth a follow. People are starting to wake up and ask the right question. Democrats are not incentivized for Black Americans to do better. Their ongoing cycle of struggle among Black Americans benefits their political power. Once Black Americans are thriving and less focused on racism, Democrats will actually have to offer something of real value.
I'm always got to be the person to say it, and I don't want to be the person to say it. But Donald Trump has been president for 9 months. 9 months! And I'm seeing videos from Chicago, D.C., where people are like, yo, I feel safe. My kids feel safe. This is the best thing he ever did for us. So what was happening all these years that this shit, like literally I've known DC and Virginia to have this type of shit going my whole life, and I'm in my 40s, okay? Almost touching it. So what was really truly going on? If a motherfucker became president 9 months ago and cleared that shit out with just a flick of the pen, I'm just thinking, like, did y'all really ever care?
She's asking the right question because these areas are controlled by Democrats. But the best way to understand people is to pay attention to their incentive structures. Democrats are not incentivized for Black Americans to do better. If you think about the Democrats' platform, it's about making everybody a victim. If you're Black, the system's racist and it's against you, and we are the people who are going to fix that problem for you. Those Republicans, they're racist. If you're gay, they don't like you because you're gay. If you're a woman, they don't like you because you're a woman. If you're an immigrant, they don't like you because you're an immigrant. And again, back to Black people, the reason you're struggling is because of history, racism, and the system. It's not your decision making. It's not you making poor decisions. But here's the thing, if they can keep you focused on everything except accountability and your own personal agency, that makes you a perpetual voter for Democrats. Because you will continue to believe that the reason you and your people are not succeeding is because the system is racist and it's against you, and you believe the Democrats are fighting to fix that system, when in reality, the system is not against you. And the biggest reason Black Americans are now struggling is because of Black Americans. Our mindsets, our belief systems, the way we go about things. The system is no longer the primary factor. It's us. But again, if Black Americans start taking accountability, making better decisions, and doing better, they will need the Democrats less. Then the Democrats will actually have to be accountable for getting things done. As long as Black people think white people and Republicans are racist, Democrats are like, oh, we got it locked. But if Black Americans start doing better and start catching up with the other races, and they start thinking maybe this place isn't that racist, Democrats have to have a new talking point, or they have to do something different to continue to get the Black vote. That's more work and it's more dangerous for their political power. So again, it actually works in Democrats' favor for Black people to continue to struggle. It doesn't actually help them if they actually fix our problems. So simply put, Democrats are incentivized for Black people to continue to struggle. Also, don't forget I have a free email newsletter.
That's an interesting take. You know, that's an interesting take. So we must be careful. Is Trump getting rid of crime, or are they hiding, waiting for the operation to be done? They're arresting a lot of people. So they're taking a lot of people off the streets. I mean, the thing is that, like, a lot of people don't realize, I don't know, but the fact is that if you take all these cities, you know, Chicago, New York, DC, LA, it's like a couple hundred people that are committing the vast majority of the crimes. They're recidivists, they're repeat offenders. They keep repeating crimes. They get out. They repeat crime. They get out. They repeat crime. They get out. Like, the judges are letting them out. And they just keep going over and over and over again. You know, 70, 80, 90 arrests without going to jail. You get those people off the streets, crime goes down. And this is brutal. 2 teens who brutally attacked the ex. Remember Big Balls got beat up and everything? Well, the teens who attacked Big Balls Constantine in D.C. parking garage have avoided jail, sentenced to probation. Constantine suffered a concussion, a broken nose, and the assault. Indictments and arrests are not detention sentences. That's what I mean. I think a lot of them are getting locked up, though. And so, yeah, so this guy that got all beat up. Yeah. Yes, violent rhetoric. Yeah. See? Right here, see, Delaware University won't publish students who thank Charlie Kirk assassin in school TV program. Yeah, Democrat Party is a domestic terrorist organization. Teens who jump staffer avoid jail, sentenced to probation. There we go. The D.C. judge Kendra Briggs has allowed the 2 teens who jumped Edward Big Balls to avoid jail and sentence them to simple probation, stating her job is to rehabilitate, not punish. Oh, what do you know? Her job, Kendra Briggs, says, I'm not here to punish people for crimes. I'm here to rehabilitate, so we're just going to issue probation. It's incredibly unjust. So nothing's really changed in D.C. Catch and release, light sentences, encourage violence. Congress must act to end this lunacy. Prison is the place for rehabilitation. This is why we can't win. Yeah. If a bartender can go to jail for overserving a drunk person who drives, then a judge should go to jail for criminals they released who killed someone. Yes, jail is for rehabilitation. What country is Briggs from? I don't know. This was a racist verdict by a racist judge. The simple test to apply is if the races had been reversed, the white kids would be in prison. Equal justice for all. Elon Musk, man. Based. One of the 10 attackers, 2 were adults. The DC DOJ refused to prosecute them. Hopefully this changes soon. To this day, they've only caught 2 out of the 10. 8 of them remain on the street. The night could have gone far differently. Think of your daughters and mothers. The same group attacked people before and after us, breaking ribs and stomping heads. This senseless crime must be stopped. Teens who jumped ex-Doge staffer avoid jail, sentenced to probation. Yeah, 10 attacked him. Yeah, 10 attacked him. Only a white boy.
We get to the car and she begins to fumble for the keys. They start shouting at us. And really quickly, I knew something was really off about the situation. So she unlocks the car. I rush her into the driver's seat. She's able to close the door behind her and lock the doors. And, you know, right as I turn around, they run up on me. And they're just a few feet away. And they slam me against the car. They start throwing a bunch of punches. I keep my hands up. I'm just like, all right, I'm getting a lot of punches here. I'm just trying to protect my head the best way that I can. And, you know, luckily the whole thing didn't last too long. The police showed up pretty quickly. So I was very fortunate. I only came out with a broken nose and a concussion. It could have been a lot worse.
Oh my God. All right. So they were wailing on you. Did they get you down on the ground?
No. I knew that if I got down on the ground, it'd get way worse. So I was like, all right, no matter what, I just have to stay on my feet.
All right. So stay on your feet. You protect the head because you know what? Big Balls also has big brains. And that's very important. And you saved this lady friend of yours. You kind of saved more than her car. You might have saved her life.
Yeah, it was a really bad situation. And, you know, the carjacking didn't make a lot of sense because it was like the cheapest car on the block. So it felt like there might have been something else going on there.
Okay. Well, you're a brave.
Yeah, the 2 teenagers who jumped the Doe staffer. Oh, and thank you very much, Rudd. It says, thanks, Jim. I really enjoyed your work and love Bella. Well, Bella loves all you guys, too. She tells me all the time. The boy was handed a 12-month probation, allowed to return home under strict house arrest, while the girl was given a 9-month probation and remanded to a youth shelter. Yeah. So I've heard, too, like there was a lot of stuff. There was a study, I covered it a while back, about the home monitoring stuff that goes on. And basically, the home monitoring stuff is a bunch of bullshit. They go and commit crimes on the monitoring. You know, the teens also can't contact each other or linger in D.C. beyond school, work, and family obligations. Judge Kendra D. Briggs stressed she hopes the 2 assailants who were not identified because of their age learn from their stint on probation. You guys want to take a wager? Anyone want to take a wager on whether or not they learn about their stint of probation? I doubt it. White House press secretary ripped into the decision to not lock up the 2 teens. One of the big issues in D.C. is these juveniles. They just get a slap on the wrist. The administration has a completely different philosophy. We need law and order. The accomplices of the carjacking at approximately 3 a.m. in D.C. remain at large. I hope you can figure things out and be ready for the consequences. Constantine 19 reportedly told defendants via video link as he thanked the courts and police for their quick work in bringing the pair to justice. Corstine, I thought it was Constantine. Corstine, anyway, was left with a concussion and broken nose after he and a female companion were jumped by a group of 10 guys. A photo of him bloodied and bruised propelled DC crime woes into the national spotlight, with even President Trump addressing the violent bashing. We almost lost a young man, a beautiful, handsome guy who got the hell knocked out of him, Trump wrote online at the time. If DC doesn't get its act together and quickly, we'll have no choice but to take federal control of the city and run the city how it should be run and put criminals on notice. They're not going to get away with it anymore. The president later took the controversial move to take over the local police department and ship in the National Guard to patrol the city streets until September 10th. All right. Now, this is the next story, which this is for Trumpinator. This one is for you, Trumpinator, the story. You ready? From cabinet secretaries to state legislators, many women in today's GOP have one thing in common. They got their start in public life by winning beauty pageants. That's right. The Wall Street Journal says that's the girl right there that you were talking about, the beauty queens of MAGA world. That's the one you were saying was hot earlier that was talking, the spokesperson. But yeah, so the Wall Street Journal says that the GOP has all the hotties and the Democrats have all the fuglies. It's the Wall Street Journal, folks. You know. Now do cabinet secretaries, all billionaires who have extremely successful in life. Yeah. Conservative women are much prettier than leftist cat ladies. Now I know why. Mm-hmm. Republican women are hot as F, unlike the fugly filth liberal women. Yeah. Most Democrats have never had a real job, so there's that. Pretty sexist of you. Seems you have an issue with beautiful conservatism. Women. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so here we go. The beauty queens of MAGA world. Oh, it says I need a subscription. Oh, man, they want me to get a subscription. Thanks for making me famous. No problem. The story is just for you. Oh, man, that's terrible. What am I supposed to do? Okay, I'll read this one. Mm-hmm. The beauty queens of MAGA world. In November, Denmark's Victoria Kjær-Thelvig was crowned Miss Universe, and Amber Hulsey was elated. For Hulsey, a Miss South Dakota turned Republican state senator, it seemed not just a pageant victory, but a cultural watershed. Trump is president and Miss Universe is blonde. She posted on Instagram. We're so back. Yeah, nice accordion skirt. Mm-hmm. Miss America. It wasn't the first time that the technicolor worlds of MAGA and beauty pageants, both image conscious, soaked in nostalgia, and adroit with hairspray, have intersected. In January, Abby Stockard, the reigning Miss America, turned up at Donald Trump's inauguration wearing a maha gown. When it came time to select a cabinet, Trump tasked South Dakota's 1990 Snow Queen, Kristi Noem, as Secretary of Homeland Security. I didn't know Kristi Noem was a Snow Queen. Wow. Yeah. We keep getting hit, stabbed, run down, depersoned, cursed, silenced, and shot, but still think we can live side by side with these vermin. They know we lost and grind our bones with it. As Secretary of Homeland Security, and Anna Kelly, a former Miss State Fair of Virginia, was appointed Deputy Press Secretary. Oh, hello. Make America healthy again. Hello. Yes, yes. I'll say. Last month, when the president needed someone to push through criminal charges against James Comey, the former FBI director, another beauty queen came to the fore. Lindsay Halligan, the one-time Miss Colorado, did the job after Trump pushed out the top prosecutor for the Eastern Virginia and elevated her. Halligan's turn in the spotlight has paled beside the glow of another pageant veteran, Erica Kirk, the widow of slain conservative activist Charlie Kirk and Miss Arizona in 2012. At her husband's funeral last month, she demonstrated preternatural poise, addressing a stadium-sized crowd, extolling a traditional view of marriage in which he was the family spiritual leader while she maintained the home. Make America hot again. That's right. What do you mean? Snow Bunny? Oh, she was a Snow Queen. To Brittany Hugo Boom, the editor of EV Magazine, the kind of conservative cosmopolitan that is a Bible for the trad wives, the MAGA pageant axis was further evidence that America is turning the page on the progressive era in which such concepts as body positivity and gender fluidity entered the mainstream. That's right. Brittany Hugaboom? Hugo Boom. That can't be a real name. It is. It's a real name. You're still going to hold on to your Honda 4-cylinder 750 till it still runs. It's good enough for a bargain. There you go. We're shifting from the era of Hillary Clinton pantsuits into one that celebrates femininity again, Hugo Boom declared, adding, the current administration has always understood the influence of aesthetics. saying a recent EV headline, "Make Miss America Great Again. Can conservative culture save the century-old pageant?" Oh, yeah, there she is. There's Lindsay Halligan right there. She's another smoke show. To their proponents, pageants are a training ground for young women to succeed in the world beyond the swimsuit competition. They learn discipline and poise, how to think on their feet. The life of a Miss America, crossing the country to appear at events, speaking in public and developing a platform and smiling for endless pictures. It's so different from that of a campaigning politician. Oh, it isn't so different. I'm sorry. Lord, what? You learn to present yourself. You're learning to have stump speeches, or lack of a better word, you're learning to be media savvy, said Hillary Levy Friedman, author of the book, Here She Is, The Complicated Reign of a Beauty Pageant in America. Her mother, Pamela Eldred, was Miss America 1970. I don't know. But critics cannot quite get past the idea of women standing on stage to be judged on their appearance. As in Trump world, they say contestants may demonstrate strength, talent, and ambition, but always on men's terms. What? Girl in white, that. Yeah, she is, right? She's very pretty. Very, very pretty. The pageant world rules for success are similar to the Trump's world rules for success, said Kimberly Hamlin, professor of women's history at Miami University of Ohio. Always look your best, always be ready for the bikini contest, be charming, always do what the boss wants. Margaret Mifflin, author of the 2020 book Looking for Miss America, believes pageants and MAGA are a consonant in their inclination to maintain the status quo. MAGA culture is rewarding a certain kind of woman that beauty pageants reward. Both revere conventional, traditional representations of women. So what they're saying is that people still want attractive women, and men still think women are beautiful. And I mean, what is this a bad thing? Wow. Hulsey, who at 27 is South Dakota's youngest ever state senator, is aware of the contradictions. Which one is her? Is this her? Maybe? Is that her? Same girl right there? She's a state senator at 27. While she credits pageants for her professional success, she also acknowledges it's not ideal to being parading women around on a stage in their underwear, essentially to win a scholarship. Ironically, modern pageants trace their roots to events staged by suffragists to showcase women's talents and contributions to society. In 1921, hoteliers in Atlantic City subverted that idea by creating their own review of bathing beauties held the week after Labor Day as a way to extend the summer season. Oh. How dare you? What do you mean? How dare me what? How dare me say that women are beautiful? I wonder if that was Nucky Johnson that did that in Atlantic City. I would say so at that time. 1921, Nucky Johnson. If Miss America is prim and studious, competing for university scholarships, think of Miss USA as the racier sister, or as Mifflin put it, it's a little more of a skin show. More than once, contestants complained about Trump going backstage when they were undressed, something he did not deny in a 2005 interview with Howard Stern. I'll go backstage before a show and everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else, no men anywhere, and I'm allowed to go because I'm the owner of the pageant and therefore I'm inspecting it. They're standing there with no clothes and you can see incredible looking women. Oh, what's it say? Treats for Bella, please, but please no lights. She's trying to sleep. Okay, well, thank you. With that, we are $34 away from an additional hour, which maybe we'll hit it, maybe we won't. We're getting close. 34 is not that far away, really. And let's see, we have 3 minutes and 10 seconds left on the goal there, but we'll go a little while longer. We've got about 15 minutes, I think, left to show if we don't hit it. But thank you very much, Rudd. Every little bit helps. Yes. Greta, mad about good-looking women. Well, but by the time Trump sold the pageant in 2015, such events were in decline. In the 80s, Miss America was one of the year's biggest television events. Yeah, I remember everybody used to watch Miss America pageants in the 80s. Yeah, but then when they started letting fat men compete, you have not made a Hispanic joke in at least 24 hours. Oh, well. Last year, their audience dropped to under 1 million loyalists who had to stream it online. As Hamilton observed, it's not really a thrill anymore to turn on your TV and see a woman in a bikini. Even that may not be an offer. In 2018, Miss America ended its swimsuit competition under direction of then chair Gretchen Carlson. Gretchen Carlson. Ugh. Yeah. Amid backlash, it has since introduced a sportswear competition. I mean, look at Melania. She's a smoke show too, man. Got to be the prettiest. She's got to be a 9 that's a liberal becomes a 5. Wrong channel. What do you mean? What are you guys talking about? What am I missing? Am I missing something? Is there something going on in the chat that I'm not seeing? Because I didn't see anything. I don't see who you're talking to. Yes, Melania is the prettiest FLOTUS ever. Carlson is regarded seemingly in all corners of the pageant universe as a transcendent figure. After winning Miss America in '89, 3 years after the competition stopped releasing contestants' measurements, she used this scholarship money to pay for her Stanford education. In the first week of her reign, Carlson recalled that she was at a dinner in Atlanta when someone tapped her on her shoulder and asked her to give a 30-minute impromptu speech before 5,000 people. She ran to the bathroom to prepare. Being Miss America was the toughest job I'll ever have, and that's saying something, says Carlson, who became a Fox News star and then a woman's empowerment advocate after suing the network's chairman, Roger Ailes, for sexual harassment. Oh, you saw a comment by Allegan in Joe's channel and responded here. Oh, okay. All right. The dirty secret about pageants is behind the smiles and the ogling. A great part of their fuel is female ambition. Long before American Idol and its ilk, pageants were a means for a small-town striver to vault herself into a bigger world. Feminist icon Gloria Steinem and journalist Diane Sawyer both competed in pageants. So did Sarah Palin, the proto-MAGA governor of Alaska and a 2008 Republican vice president candidate. Palin was crowned Miss Wasilla at age 20 and received second runner-up for Miss Alaska. In 2016 interview with the South Dakota newspaper, Nolan reflected on her eye-opening reign as Snow Queen. It was the first time I sat down and done an interview with multiple people. It was very educational. Stand up and speak in front of individuals. There's a large amount of people at the Snow Queen contest was a first as well. To Halsey, who boasts a degree from the university. This is Charlie Kirk's wife now, and this is Charlie Kirk's wife when she was the Miss Arizona. To Halsey, who boasts a degree from the University of South Dakota and Georgetown Law, there are two types of women who win pageant crown, the one of whom it will be their life's greatest achievement, and the one for whom it will be a launch pad. I hope one day that Miss South Dakota thing falls off the bottom of my resume and it's not what people know for me, she said. Halsey entered her first local pageant at 13 because a friend did. To her surprise, she won. Since she already had the dress, she entered a bigger pageant and won that one too. Along the way, she met a pageant executive named Sarah Frankenstein. Frankenstein? Ooh, did Frankenstein set up a monster? Who had won the 98 Miss South Dakota pageant. Child of Frankenstein vies for Miss America, read the Orlando Sentinel headline. Frankenstein is now one of South Dakota's foremost election lawyers, and she became Halsey's mentor. I would not be a state senator had it not been for that woman who grew up on a hunting ranch far from the corridors of power, and I would not have been exposed to her if not for pageants. Over the years, Halsey has encountered plenty of boundary-pushing contestants who were determined to use the crown to advance progressive causes. She noted that she has also met Trump at the Iowa caucuses in January, 2 months after she competed in Miss USA. He came up and he goes, "Now you look familiar," she recalled. She had been an intern in his first administration, Halsey replied. Trump went blank. Then she mentioned the Miss USA pageant. He goes, "That's what it is. It was a very him moment." So everybody, there's proof. It's in the Wall Street Journal. Conservative women are just hotter than leftist fucking trogs that have the nose rings and all the blue purple hair. And so, on to the next story. Is anybody concerned at all that Congress secretly recorded 30 million lines of phone data to map who might be a MAGA supporter for contacting the Trump White House and then tried to backdoor it to the FBI? Perhaps time for a refresher course on the Fourth Amendment. No. Congress collected 30 million lines of phone data in the Trump J6 probe, raising civil liberty concerns. That's right. That the Congress just didn't care about Fourth Amendment protections or anything and just started grabbing up people's shit to give to the FBI. Congressional investigators collected a stunning 30 million lines of phone data mapping contacts between conservatives and the Trump White House in the name of investigating the January 6th Capitol breach, a massive dragnet that raises civil liberties concerns about the lack of limits on the ability of lawmakers to snoop on America's private phone calls. The mountainous collection of phone records were revealed to the FBI, led by Chris Wray in late 2023 by former Rep. Adam Kinzinger, a GOP member, a rhino, scumbag, crybaby on the Democrat January 6th committee. The cash was offered to the Bureau on the eve of the 2024 election as evidence without requiring a warrant, according to an FBI document memorializing the offer that was reviewed by Just the News. The memo said Kinzinger told the FBI that the phone data had been collected by then former Rep. Denver Riggleman, an ex-Republican who was a staffer on the Capitol Riot Committee and who helped Hunter Biden's legal team in its efforts to cast doubt on the laptop belonging to Joe Biden's son. So Denver Riggleman. Sounds like a guy who was another liar who ran for office and claimed he was a Republican even though he wasn't. The FBI memo does not reveal whether the Bureau ever took Kinzinger up on the offer, but it does reveal the sheer magnitude of a phone surveillance project the Democrats ran by using congressional subpoenas to gather phone records about Americans' contacts with the White House. Kinzinger told the FBI that the J6 committee collected and linked a substantial amount of telephone data and noted that the FBI may already possess such data. While former Congressman Denver Riggleman worked with the Select Committee, he had a contact and was able to obtain toll information, including for White House route or switchboard numbers via congressional subpoena. FBI agents wrote in their memo summarizing the offer. So he had a connection, a contact, somebody. Did someone break the law? Kinzinger noted that he did not conduct an analysis himself, but that Riggleman had identified certain telephone connections between numbers identified as being associated with the White House and certain individuals. In a post Wednesday on his Substack, Kinzinger confirmed that he had conversations with the FBI in December 2023, alerting agents to the data, but said he believed the collection of phone records was old news because the congressional subpoenas were public. So what? We only care about when Congress's phones is tapped. Oh, wait, they were. Congress used lawful subpoenas to obtain phone metadata in 2021. It was routine, it was reported, it was discussed openly. In 2023, I had a brief discussion with members of the FBI, reminding them that of this data if they needed it in their investigation. Regardless, they didn't seem interested, and that was that. While the January 6th committee subpoena records were public, the size and scope of the data was not mentioned in those subpoenas, nor was the contact with the FBI. Previously, an investigator for the committee estimated in a book that the data was 18 million lines of data. Kinzinger offered a much larger size of data in the FBI interview at 30 million lines of data. It was revealed last week that Special Counsel Jack Smith and the Biden-era FBI collected the private phone records of 8 Republican senators and 1 GOP House member as part of this investigation into the January 6, 2020 riot. FBI's Arctic Frost investigation also targeted dozens of GOP officials and organizations, according to the documents released by Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley in September. The newly released memo on Kinzinger and Riggleman was recently uncovered by current FBI Director Kash Patel and has since garnered significant attention inside the Bureau because of the timing of the contact between the agents and the former lawmaker in December 2023. By that time, Kinzinger had already left Congress and the committee he worked for had ended its probe a year earlier. But the 2024 presidential election between Trump and Joe Biden was heating up, with the first presidential primaries just weeks away from starting. Agents noted that Kinzinger seemed eager to help the FBI at the moment, and Congress had not figured out what to do with the massive collection of data. Kinzinger indicated that Riggleman may have never received direction on what to do with the data, which included approximately 30 million lines of data. Kinzinger believed it was an electronic format, but did not know if it was the original subpoena returns. The agent who interviewed him said that she would contact Kinzinger if any additional information was requested. Kinzinger did not immediately respond for requests for comment sent to him through the Speaker's Bureau contact listed on his personal website. Riggleman did not immediately respond to requests for comment sent to him through his LinkedIn page. Me too. I want a list of the congressmen who used our tax money to settle sexual assault allegations. Yeah, they have a special. What's it called? Slush fund to pay it off. To pay off stuff. That's pretty sad, in my opinion. Mike Davis, a former top lawyer for the Senate Judiciary Committee and the founder of the Article 3 Project, told Just the News that the revelations in the FBI memo could prompt legal challenges that may rein in congressional oversight powers. The episode will test the limits of congressional immunity afforded by the Constitution's speech and debate clause, and whether that affords protection to activity that constitutes a criminal conspiracy to violate American civil rights. Mike Howell, the president of the Conservative Oversight Project, told Just the News that the J6 committee was an absolute violation of civil rights that far exceeded anything it ever purported to be investigating. They abused their authority to engage in a political mapping exercise to surveil their political opponents. He added that whoever turned this information over to the committee is exposed here and will be exploring ways to hold them accountable. Grassley's office said Tuesday that he sent letters to 4 telecom companies, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Lumen, requesting they provide to Congress all records that were handed over to former Special Counsel Jack Smith as part of his elector case against President Trump. The Republican chairman told the telecom providers that no court order or provision of law can prevent you from notifying senators of any legal process that sought disclosure of any Senate data transmitted on Senate or dual-use devices related to senators' offices, and that there was a reasonable concern that calls, texts, emails sent from or to those devices may have been acts consistent with the duties of office. Grassley also sent letters to Homeland Security, DOD, Office of the National Intelligence, National Archives, and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia to ask what information they had provided to Smith. An unearthed FBI record from 2023 indicated that investigators at the Bureau had conducted preliminary toll analysis on limited toll records tied to phones related to the GOP senators Johnson, Graham, Haggerty, Hawley, Sullivan, Tuberville, Loomis, and Marsha Blackburn, and Rep. Mike Kelly of Pennsylvania. Oh, what's up? Just stop to say hi. It's all you can take for now. Stopped in to say goodnight, folks. I had all you can take for now. Okay, I don't know. I said later to you on piano, whatever that. Deranged Jack Smith got caught with his hand in a cookie jar. A real sleazebag, Trump said on True Social. This document shows Biden's FBI spied on 8 Republican colleagues during the Arctic frost. Grassley said in a Monday afternoon tweet, Biden weaponization is worse than Watergate. Yeah, this whole thing makes Watergate look like patty cake, but Blondie has her thumb up her ass. We'll see. The once secret FBI record dated late September 23 has title of Cast Assistance, a likely reference to the Bureau's Cellular Analysis Survey team. The case ID for the record is Arctic Frost, Election Law Matters, Sensitive. As a result of our latest disclosure about the baseless monitoring of members of Congress by the prior leadership team at the FBI, we've already taken the following actions. We terminated employees, we abolished the weaponized CR-15 squad, and we are initiating an ongoing investigation with more accountability measures ahead, Patel tweeted on Tuesday. Grassley's office said last week that the FBI in 2023 sought and obtained data about senators' phone use from January 4th, 2021 to January 7th, 2021. The senator's office said the data shows when and to whom a call is made, as well as the duration and the general location data of the call, although not all contents of the calls themselves. The Senate chairman's office revealed the FBI document was found in a prohibited access file in response to Grassley's oversight request. So prohibited access means that nobody can find it unless you know you're looking for it. Yeah, I don't know what CR-15 is. It didn't really specify. The revelation that the FBI snooped on phone records of Republicans members of Congress in January 6th investigation is bringing greater scrutiny on Wray, during whose tenure the Bureau occurred, and to Smith, who was leading the Biden Justice Department investigation against Trump. The revelation is also putting the spotlight on former key FBI official Timothy Thibault, who Republicans argued showed extreme anti-Trump bias, demonstrated a willingness to target Trump early in his first term, attempted to slow walk or block the FBI's investigation into Hunter Biden, and in April 22 helped spark the investigation dubbed Arctic Frost, later carried on by Smith. Trump and other Republicans repeatedly alleged Smith and the FBI were themselves engaged in election influence by trying to bring charges, hold trials, and obtain convictions against Trump ahead of the 2024 election. An FBI document from Arctic Frost inquiry dated January 2023 showed the investigation's target include Donald Trump for president, Turning Point USA, the Republican Attorney General's Association, America First Policy Institute, the Save America PAC, the Conservative Partnership Institute, and more. In total, 92 Republican targets, including Republican groups and Republican linked individuals, were placed under investigative scope of Arctic Frost. On the political list was one of Charlie Kroup's groups, Turning Point USA, Grassley said last month. In other words, Arctic Frost wasn't just a case to politically investigate Trump. It was the vehicle by which partisan FBI agents and DOJ prosecutors could achieve their partisan ends and properly investigate the entire Republican political apparatus. Kinzinger's 2023 approach to the FBI about the data, which Riggleman had collected, occurred a few months after the date of the FBI's congressional snooping document. Howell told Just the News, the fact that a completely unhinged Deborah Riggleman was running point on this tells you all you need to know, that even the Democrats thought he was too crazy. Riggleman responded to last week's revelation about Smith that had obtained the phone records of Republican House and Senate by hinting that he helped make that happen. People need to know about the difference in metadata and tapping phones. Give me a call, Riggleman tweeted in response to the news last week. Also, I know the limitations the FBI most likely imposed because the J6 committee tech team very much assisted in crafting the subpoenas for J6 call records. There's a book about it. Riggleman wrote a book titled The Breach, The Untold Story of the Investigation into January 6th, which was published in September 2022 prior to Kinzinger's approach to the FBI. The book detailed Riggleman's description of the January 6th committee's sweeping data collection efforts. Part of the work I oversaw on the committee was the painstaking process of matching phone numbers to names, utilizing powerful law enforcement databases and other clues so we could find them. What gave him the authority to use law enforcement databases? They're Congress. They're not supposed to be doing that. My files include information on thousands of sensitive texts, language for subpoenas and preservation requests, as well as technical plans and documents related to the advanced analysis. Riggleman wrote that our team analyzed phone numbers that belong to those in Trump's family, rally goers, rally planners, influencers like Mike Flynn, Roger Stone, and Steve Bannon, and many others. And going through CDRs, call data records, received via subpoena, the DOJ charged defendants, planners, and senior influencers. We had already spotted several phones that connected with White House numbers. This included some numbers known to the public, such as the general White House switchboard line. Others were not readily obtainable. We found those through leveraging sources and our own deep dives into the data. Riggleman wrote that my team dubbed these area code and exchange combinations that were associated with the White House as root numbers that I had. After I took a look at Trump's logs, we began scanning all of our CDRs for these White House landline and cell phone numbers. And the book said that I recommended that the committee visually map out the connections among these groups and the escalation of their rhetoric in simple charts for the public. Once the investigation proceeded on, my team had handed on its evidence. These maps would prove more shocking than I had imagined. We could validate that it had just been guesses. Our analysis identified persons of interest that the committee had no idea about. So you guys had targets you went after. We identified and validated addresses for subpoenas and hidden phone numbers. We built dossiers for the investigative team with robust profiles. At the time of the January 6th committee, it was revealed that Riggleman was helping Hunter Biden's legal team undercut investigations into Joe Biden's son. Denver had been assisting us with data analysis since late year. Hunter Biden's lawyer and friend, Kevin Morris, told CBS News, he's an invaluable resource, and we have made tremendous strides in untangling the massive amount of corruption and disinformation involved in the story. There will be much more coming to public. Wasn't the disinformation and stuff coming from Hunter Biden's team? I and my forensics, data, and telephony team had conducted data investigations and analysis for Hunter Biden's legal team, and then he was focusing on data across the spectrum. He spent months providing digital forensic analysis for Hunter Biden's team, and he told Jim Acosta that month that his role with the Hunter Biden team is really the same as it was with the committee. We're really technical and analytical support based on computer forensics and phone forensics. They've been tracking data and what everyone's been saying over the past 2 years. They also found out as Hunter Biden's legal team reached out to me that a lot of people who had been pushing this are the same people who pushed the J6 conspiracy theories. In September 24, an episode of Mission Implausible, hosted by Hunter Biden laptop letter signers John Cipher and Jerry O'Shea, the infamous October 2020 letter helped contribute to the baseless narrative that Hunter Biden laptop stories were nothing but a product of Russian disinformation. Although the laptop letter hedged a bit at various times, it did repeatedly contend that there was Russian involvement with the laptop stories. The letter claimed has all the classic earmarks. Riggleman told the podcast host that 51 signers of the letter will probably be smiling a little bit about the validation. And I think some people I didn't understand that Russian amplification or influence looks like, but you guys do. So Russia, it was still Russia. Okay, Pat. All right. Well, I think we talked about this one enough. Wait, what happened? Oh, this was, I saw this. I wanted to bring this up. Bill Maher said the fact that this issue hasn't gained public attention is amazing. So this is
If you don't know what's going on in Nigeria, your media sources suck. You are in a bubble. And again, I'm not a Christian, but they are systematically killing the Christians in Nigeria. They've killed over 100,000 since 2009. They've burned 18,000 churches. This is so much more. These are their Islamists, Boko Haram. This is so much more of a genocide attempt than what is going on in Gaza. They are literally attempting to wipe out the Christian population of an entire country. Where are the kids protesting this?
Thank you. Thank you. Because no one will talk about it, so thank you.
Absolutely.
It's Africa. That's why no one's talking about it, and they should be. You can't read about it in mainstream media. It's sad, so thank you for bringing it up.
Well, because the Jews aren't involved. That's why. It's the Christians and the Muslims.
No. Even those in power today agree that there is genocide in Christian genocide in Nigeria. Here's this guy. He explains why Boko Haram targets Christians. Minister of Information and Culture said the terrorists were targeting Christians and their communities in order to trigger religious war in Nigeria. The slaughter of Christian worshippers is strongly condemnable. It calls into question the competence of Jonathan to protect Nigerians. To show how Christians are easily manipulated, imagine our inability to rise against the wanton killing of Christians, but are quick to rally concerning a rape that occurred 20 years ago, achieving the goal of distracting, again, Ruga, focus. 90% of Boko Haram victims are Muslim. This is a lie. The overwhelming majority of communities that Boko Haram targets are Christian. Same with the Fulani militias. The killing of Christians in Nigeria is a common blood sport, which shall continue as long as Buhari is president. We have investigated the crisis facing Christians in Nigeria today. Nigeria is the most dangerous place for Christians in the world, and impunity for those responsible for killing Christians is widespread. Jihadis who killed the evangelists for preaching in Ajuba were set free. The ones who killed Bridget, the Deeper Life pastor's wife, in Kano were set free. No Falaji terrorist has been reprimanded or jailed for killing more than 5,300 Christians in 2018 alone. Where's the Pope and his big mouth doing about it? Absolutely nothing. And so Christians are being wiped out in Nigeria as millions face death. This was just October 5th, the story came out. But are gradually being wiped out in Nigeria as millions face death, displacement, and kidnapping from jihadist groups. If nothing is done in the next few years, Christianity will cease to exist in Nigeria. The founder of the local International Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law. That is the fear for most Christian Nigerians who use a pseudonym for security reasons. Gradually, Christians are being wiped out and churches are being destroyed. The situation in Nigeria made headlines after Bill Maher said Christians are being systematically killed. The State Department has since told Newsweek that it's deeply concerned about the levels of violence against Christians and members of other groups in Nigeria. There are conflicting statistics about how many Christians have died and how many have died as a result of their faith, making it difficult to say for sure. But the international Christian advocacy group Open Doors lists Nigeria as the 7th most dangerous place for Christians in the world. It says more Christians are killed for their faith in Nigeria than in the rest of the world combined. Well, if more Christians are killed in Nigeria for their faith than the rest of the world combined, how is it the 7th most dangerous place for Christians? Those two things don't make any sense. They don't make no sense. Don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. Anyway. That don't make no sense. The Nigerian government has repeatedly pushed back against these types of reports over the years. They got their attempt of dividing people via religion is cranked up to 11 more people to divide. Oh, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Could be. Hold on 1 second. They released a statement saying they refute the recent allegations by certain international platforms and online influencers suggesting that terrorists operating in Nigeria are engaged in a systematic genocide against Christians. Portraying Nigeria's security challenges as a targeted campaign against a religious group is a gross misrepresentation of reality. It said, arguing that Christians are some of many people across all religions falling victims to terrorists operating in the country. Well, I mean, I guess it's possible that there's other people getting killed also. But I mean, wouldn't it be that if there, I mean, I've seen some reports, I've seen some reports. Don't know how true it is about how many are actually getting killed or not. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say. So Christians attacked every 2 days. Musa, an independent spokesperson for Open Doors Africa, who represents Christian victims in Nigeria, estimates that Christians are attacked in some way every 2 days in the Middle Belt, a term used to describe the area that lies between predominantly Muslim North and Christian South. The Middle Belt is an epicenter of violence in Nigeria for multiple reasons. It experiences frequent land and farmer-herder conflicts and is one of the few areas bordering predominantly Muslim North with significant concentrations of Christians. Musa described two different types of common attacks, one where jihadists will come in their hundreds on their motorbikes with other attackers on their backs with AK-47s and then descend on a village, burn, kill, and ransack the village. Wow, that's terrible. Other times, very few of them will appear on motorcycles, attack individuals, and then disappear. It's difficult to know how many Christians have been killed and how many of these deaths were faith-based, but out of the 4,400 Christians killed for their religion across the world last year, 3,100 of them were in Nigeria. That's a lot. That's a lot. Meanwhile, 16.2 million Christians in sub-Saharan Africa, many of which are from Nigeria, have been displaced. Since 2009, the mark of the start of Boko Haram's insurgency to establish a caliphate in Nigeria. Inter-Society estimates 19,100 churches have been attacked, burned down, or destroyed. Around 13,000 were counted between July 2009 and December 2014, an additional 6,100 since mid-2015. Well, the violence is being carried out by the Islamic jihadist groups, including Fulani, Boko Haram, and ISWAP, according to Open Doors. Christians, of which there are 106 million in Nigeria, are the most targeted in northern Muslim-majority states, but both Musa and Bangladesh believe jihadist groups are preparing to expand the violence into the southern part of the country. So what happens, I guess, is that as soon as the Muslims become a majority, because they're over 50%, it's 46.5% Christian, so they're just slightly more than half, so they're going to start just killing them all? Is that how it works? I guess that's how it works. I don't know. Both Musa and Bangladesh accuse the Nigerian government and security forces of not doing enough to help Christians. Because of the violence in the Middle Belt, there are soldiers in most flashpoint areas, but in most cases, when villages are under attack, they call soldiers or police come late for no explanation, and they don't have any jurisdiction. They tell you they don't have any jurisdiction. We have seen these people arrested, investigated. We have not seen these people arrested, investigated, or prosecuted. They're being granted amnesty and de-radicalized and brought back into larger society. Wow. Well, that's horrible. It really is. But we're coming up on 3 hours, and so I did give you guys an extra half hour because we had some disturbances and stuff. I was a little late, everything, but we didn't hit the goal. So that's going to be it for tonight. I want to thank everybody who's came and watched, and come on back on Thursday, and Jim will tell you the news.